he's going to be out for the season. Tonight, SDFC goes on the road to take on Portland. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 o'clock right here on San Diego Sports 760, your home for San Diego FC. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
It's Schaeffer and Sliwa. Sean Schaeffer and San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. You're Schaeffer and Sliwa.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Schaeffer and Sliwa back on this Wednesday afternoon. Alan, it's great to see you, my friend.
Yeah, I'm out.
Are you done?
Yeah, that's it.
Well, you know what?
Got to put up with this BS. It's such a perfect morning and a perfect time to just grab a quick W in a series win, and we go about our way. I'm done.
You're mad about today.
I didn't wear my Padres hat.
You're not.
Today.
You always wear a Padres hat.
Done.
Here's what I would say to be the glass half full guy today. And
Don't tell me how I'm doing. Don't worry about how I'm doing.
Here's my question for our listeners today. Are you glass half full or glass half empty right now on the Padres? And you can hit us up on the Talkback mic.
Okay.
Open up the free iHeartRadio app, search for 760, click the red Talkback mic. By doing that, by the way, let us know if you're half full or half empty right now in the Padres. By doing that, you're entered to win a 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance. And the reason I say that, and I know
and then
you're
literally, like, how much gas do you also have in your car? Like, we also want to know, are you a quarter?
Are you
tank
unleaded?
Full? Are you full?
Are you an 87 guy or an 89 guy? Let us know in the Talkback mic.
Yeah.
The reason I say it is they had won or tied 7 consecutive series. So I'll give them the grace of one series loss. Is what I would do. Now, I'm not saying I'm right, but that's how I'm looking at it this afternoon.
Can I be glass half full, but also say that was an awful series against the Mets?
Yeah,
it was not a good series.
Was it
against the
awful?
Mets.
I'm asking, was it awful?
It was awful in the sense that they could have very easily got swept.
And they also
if it wasn't for
games.
Tatis.
That's true. Yeah.
If it wasn't for Tatis.
Right.
And he's kind of the only one that you could say showed up. The arms were good.
The starting pitching, I think,
starting
was good.
pitching was good, which is a very positive thing just for the sake of the Padres in general. But it's kind of a missed opportunity. I mean, they had so many opportunities to take 2 or 3. And again, I'm sitting here. Nobody's being. They're still in a.
Of course.
The day will end. They'll be in a wild card spot. They've been playing some great ball, but that series, the series against the Mets, just leaves. It kind of takes away a little bit of that momentum that was really, really starting to build, and that I could just be honest about.
I think that's completely fair. This is how I feel about where they are. To your point, they're going to at least have a 1-game lead in the wild card. It could be 2, depending on this Arizona game. Do we have an update on the Arizona game? You told me at last check Arizona was winning.
Yeah,
3-2. So we'll wait on that. But I made a point to you, and tell me if you agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting it all now in the Padres' hands down the stretch. As in, if they play well enough, I don't know if they're going to get past. I am worried about Arizona because they're only a game back with a win. Mm-hmm. But like, if San Diego plays well enough, I'm not worried about St. Louis or Miami. Just play well enough in the final 30-something games, and I think you'll find your way into the postseason. As in, it's in their hands. It's not in anyone else's hands if they can get to the postseason or not.
Yeah, there is a little bit of. At this point, it kind of just comes down to the Padres.
Right.
I mean, I think there was a time where you'd say to yourself, you need help. You need other squads. I mean, there was a time right after the All-Star break.
Agree.
They went 2-5 and they gained ground in the wild card. And you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is not going to be a sustainable measure
I agree with you.
to get into the postseason. But at least what they've created for themselves, and I'm just looking here because they got
too.
Arizona
We're just watching
and Boston.
highlights. Yeah.
Arizona's going to win. So they're not going to get swept. And I think they had lost their first 2 against the Red Sox and kind of got outclassed in each one of those games. But there was a point where it's like, I don't think they're good enough to get to the finish line. And it's because of how they played that they got in. That's flipped. Like, that script is flipped. Now they're clearly good enough to go get one of those wild card spots. They'll stumble here and there as well, but it will come down to if they're playing the type of baseball. Nobody's saying they're going to go in that winning percentage over the stretch of this last month or so, but it's in their hands, and I think that's what you feel a lot more comfortable with than you did a month ago.
Yeah, and you know the one thing, and you mentioned this to me before we started the show, and you just briefly mentioned as well. For them to get quality starts on 4 consecutive days or in 4 straight games is something that we haven't said one time this year. You'd have to go back to last May, the last time they had 4 straight quality starts. There was a 2-month stretch, Alan. Nobody was providing anything, maybe other than Michael King, where we were like, please go 4 innings or 4 2/3 innings. And now all of a sudden, this rotation has kind of settled in. Mize has been good. Ray benefited from Tatis that we'll get into. I thought King today was very good. You got to back him. Yes, he allowed a home run. So be it. You need to back him. I'm encouraged by the starting pitching. I'm still confident, even with losing the series to the Mets.
If I just stay on the starting pitching here for a second. So Casey Mize on Sunday at Cleveland didn't give up a run. Walker Buehler, that first game against the Mets where the Padres just shot themselves in the foot 13 times and the third base coach is still having runners around third.
Yeah.
Buehler gave up 2 runs.
Yeah.
So you had Casey Mize give up no runs. Buehler gave up 2 runs. Robbie Ray ended up, what did he give up? 1 or 2 runs. I think he only gave up.
What was the score last night?
5-2.
When did the second run score? I forget.
I don't remember either, but he gave up 1 or 2 runs. Yes, it took Tatis to bail him out, but he was better after that.
Yeah, I agree.
You and I were both about to leave the studio, and I think the question we were asking was, I'm going to the pen in the 6th, and they didn't. They left him out there, and he held his own. So the way he finished off after he was kind of given a gift, and then today I thought Michael King was really good as well. The half glass full, I would say, is 4 quality starts. Michael King, I thought, pitched well today, pitched well again today. And really, the only question right now, I would say, within your starting rotation is Randy Vasquez. So and that's probably not going to change until the season ends.
Well, here's what I would say, because we've been so complimentary of the offense, deservedly so, for a good portion of the last month plus. This is what they did on the 3-3 road trip against 2 losing teams, Cleveland and New York. 7 runs followed by 1, 5 runs followed by 1, 5 runs followed by 2. They had been more consistent than that. They had been really good, obviously. And now they kind of fell a little bit into their old ways. 1 game on a 6-game road trip scoring 1 run is no problem. But 3 times scoring 2 runs or fewer, you're not going to win more than 3 of those games. So I just hope this is a little bit of a blip. I'm a little concerned about what I'm seeing from some of these players that we were so complimentary of recently. Jackson Merrill is coming to mind. Obviously, Tatis has been terrific. It's a whole other story.
And that's a conversation that we'll have.
Wouldn't you agree that like they were so damn consistent? Maybe that's not reasonable to expect, but they lacked that this week.
I think this is you can't have the extremes. That's the problem. The extremes are, I don't need 7 runs in a game.
Give me 4 every game.
And then you get 1.
Right.
Because the series against the Mets, that pitching was too good to lose 2 of 3.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's a good point.
Right?
Yeah.
The starting pitching was too good. And your bullpen was too good to lose 2 of 3. And what you don't want to have, this is kind of the same thing that we're looking at the Padres offense. I don't need them to be 30th for the first 4 months and then go on a stretch where they're first. Just some more consistency.
Sure.
Because in a playoff series where you have to take on the Cubs, or you pick whichever squad that you're playing, if you got 1 game where you scored 7 and the other 2 games you combined for 3 runs, you're losing the series.
Right.
And that's a little bit of what we had last year. That loss, the wild card loss to the Cubbies. And I know, not all, I'm not trying to make it as it's apples to apples, but from an offensive perspective from the Padres, you just want more balance. I don't need 7-run games, but I can't have 1-run games as well. And they lost the series because of their offense.
If you want a little bit of good news,
I think I just saw it.
Boston is tying up Arizona at Fenway in the 6th with 3 runs of their own. So that game's 5-5.
Take that.
After Arizona had raced to a 5-2 lead. I'll stand by what I said, which is even with Arizona, man, if you get passed by either Arizona, Miami, or St. Louis, I'm putting it on the Padres. As in, yeah, you are going to get passed if you close.
Even Arizona?
Maybe
like
not Arizona.
I put Miami and St. Louis on. Like,
is Arizona good? The Marte situation that's playing out?
I don't think they're good. I think if you ask most people today, between both of those teams, you're just looking at the roster. I think most people would say Padres got a much better, not a much better, they got a better shot of making the postseason than Arizona.
Especially off the trade deadline. So, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'm not going to expect them to get in if they close going, I don't even know how many games are remaining, but like 15 and 19. Well, that's on you. You have to play better. But I think if you go in that hypothetical 19 and 15,
you might get in.
I believe you're going to be in. That's
Yeah.
the thing. I don't think you're going to be run down by Miami, St. Louis, and I honestly don't think you'll be run down by Arizona. Again, remember what I've said. My goal is to be 4 up with 3 to play. And they're making that harder on themselves, losing a series to the Mets, but it's still possible. And that remains my goal. Can you be a 4 up on Arizona with 3 to play? Possible.
Is that a lot to ask for?
I don't know.
To 4 up. I mean, let's just put it this way. That would be best case scenario, right?
One of them.
I think it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, just like you tell me, you get an entire weekend to just chill.
It'd be huge.
You don't care what it looks like. You get guys that want to rest, all that. You set up your rotation, those final 3 games. And if you're 4 games up by the time you get into that final weekend, you had a lot go your way and you had some things go against Arizona because you have not been in a position where you have this much of a cushion.
Well, to your point, you're right.
Maybe now, early in the season.
For example, if Boston wins today, they may not. It's 5-5. If they win, you're 2 up.
Yeah.
So it's like to get to 4 up isn't even asking that much. I mean, shoot, it might be just as much in Arizona. Like if they go in the tank, you might just inevitably move 3 or 4 games clear of them. So I'm still cautiously. I am honestly past cautiously.
You don't have to.
I'm still optimistic on the Padres.
I don't think anybody has to be cautiously optimistic. I think you can be optimistic of how they're playing and what they've done. They didn't have a good series against the Mets. I think we could also just be honest that, in a weird way, I don't know how they lost game 1 of that series against the Mets. They had
all the base runners at
plenty of chances to win today's game as well. Just did it.
Yep.
Kind of screwing up on opportunities. They're getting guys on. I mean, that getting guys on has been an issue, but they're not really there aren't these big hits that are coming. And there isn't, one of these games where they're connecting with runners in scoring position. And then yesterday's game was that was a Tatis game. And by the way, Tatis deserves his own time and his own conversation because the swag of that player that you've talked about, you said was your favorite player, and a lot of San Diegans who have been rocking with Tatis for a long time. It might be one of the best versions of Tatis that we've seen since it's been a couple of years.
I'm glad you went there because we'll talk about it on the other side. Is he fully back? Is Fernando Tatis Jr. Fernando Tatis Jr., so to speak, after what we witnessed this weekend or this week in New York? Plus, Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, will join us at 3:30. How do you feel, Padres fans? Glass half full or glass half empty? Hit us up on the talkback mic. We can play those on air. Open the free iHeartRadio app. Search for San Diego Sports 760. Click the red talkback mic. By doing that, you're automatically entered to win a 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance August 30th at Petco. We'll give away those tickets here today. Stay with us, Schaeffer and Sliwa with San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to Game Day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get pumped. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers, sign up with that code SD760. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click-to-claim issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
All right, with the iHeartRadio app, you can stream us wherever you are 24 hours a day. Just search for San Diego Sports 760 to stream us live all day, every day. You can leave your comments for us by using that talkback microphone. Tell us what you liked, what you didn't like, what you want us to talk about. Make us a preset so we can pop up each time that you open up the app. San Diego Sports 760, always live on the iHeartRadio app.
All right, Kevin Acee in 12 minutes. Now, we haven't had a chance to react to last night, even though the Padres lost today. But last night was truly vintage Fernando Tatis Jr. It is hard. You've heard me say this, and I might have said it yesterday, Alan. It's hard for a baseball player to take over a game unless you're a pitcher.
Yeah.
Pitchers can take over games. They just go
Sure.
9 innings and allow one hit, you
Sure.
know? But for a position player.
Third base coaches can also take over.
Well, in a negative way. I mean, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout in their primes were on the same team and did take over games, and it didn't even mean they won all those games, okay? How many times do you see those tweets? Ohtani and Trout are the first teammates in baseball history to do this in a 9-6 loss to the Blue Jays. But Tatis,
or how about in the World Baseball Classic when they're going up each other? Everybody's saying, like, imagine if they were on the same team.
Exactly. But Tatis last night, I mean, to homer twice and take a grand slam away.
Yeah.
That, of course, is the difference between winning and losing. They won by 3, ironically. He took 4 runs off the board. I mean, that's as good as it gets for any baseball player.
But it's not just, I robbed a home run, which is great in itself. It's not just the first pitch of the game, I hit a home run, and then later on, I hit a 2-run homer and it barely gets over the fence. It's I hit the first pitch of the game 452 feet in New York, which I think, obviously has a different feel to it. And then the defensive play was one of the coldest plays I've ever seen. How high he has to go up. Forget that. That's not even my favorite part. His hat flips all over the places and in the background. He doesn't move. Nobody knows if he has the ball. He's staring with every Met and Padre fan staring at him, and then he shows you that he has the ball. To me, what made Tatis so special yesterday and why a lot of Padre fans, might be looking at Tatis the way they did years ago, that swag is back. That, hey, I'm one of the baddest players in baseball, and don't forget it. And I think for a lot of, fans out there, casual fans out there, you don't have to be. Do you know how many freaking tweets I saw yesterday? A lot of my feeds on X and Twitter, a lot of them are NBA related just because of covering the NBA for so long. Brother, you had people that are NBA reporters that are like grabbing these shot of him. Everybody's saying this might be the best play I've ever seen in baseball. Look at his reaction. You got different angles that are coming in from fan perspectives that are zooming in on their phone. You got ESPN and MLB that could not stop talking about Tatis. It wasn't just a special day for a couple of plays.
It was
how he did it. It was the fact that it was Tatis. And I think it was reminding people that, is there any way that we can get that that version of Tatis at his best still ahead of us?
Yeah, like on one hand, that's well said. On one hand, it's amazing to see it. On the other hand, you're like, well, I haven't really seen that. Like we're going back. Now, he had a 2024 run, September into the postseason. He was awesome. And that includes the Dodgers series. That's what I'm saying. He was amazing.
Runs.
He's been an amazing postseason player in his career, by and large. But okay, so we had that 2024 stretch, but then go back. You got to go all the way back to 2021. And I just hope that we're talking more about Tatis like last night moving forward. And it's not just a flash in the pan. Not that we're asking for 2 home runs and a game-saving grab like that.
Here's what you're asking for.
I want to see a player that hits I want to see him hit 40 home runs in the season again.
Here's what you're asking for. Here's what you're asking for. You're asking for Tatis to be the face of the franchise again. For Tatis to be one of the faces of Major League Baseball again. That's what you're asking for.
I wonder if those days are done. The baseball part of it. Because, man, it's been a precipitous drop in terms of his marketability.
Sure.
Over the last 5 or 6. And some of that's on him. Forget 100%. About the suspension for a second. It's just been his
the suspension
play.
is part of it, too.
It's a part of it. But so some of that, whatever. But I'm with you from the Padres perspective. Like, to Padres fans, Tatis can still be the biggest star of them all. To Padres fans, I forget about what he's going to mean nationally for a second. I think in San Diego, Tatis can still be that monster. But I think even here, over the last 4 or 5 years, he has taken somewhat of a back seat along the way just because of his play and the circumstances.
Here's where I'm going to disagree on the Major League Baseball side of things.
Okay.
MLB wants him to be the man again.
They would love it.
MLB would love to have Tatis and that swagger and those plays and those highlights. There's a part of it, the reason why they want it as well. There is a little bit of David versus Goliath when it comes to San Diego. And if they can rally around, and I guarantee you, whether you're a Padre fan or not, you come postseason and you're going up against some of these other big time markets. A lot of people will be rooting for the underdog. They will be rooting for San Diego.
Right.
The question is going to be, can the Padres go on a legitimate run? Can they put this man as the face of the franchise, and can they put him on each one of these billboards? And every time they're promoting a postseason game, can they put Tatis on there? And the Padres are good. Like there's a lot of elements that go into that, but I don't think MLB is going to be against putting Tatis back in that front center.
It's not an issue, but let me say it this way. His ceiling remains as high as anyone in baseball. The problem is, how often is he reaching it? I mean, he's the only player in the sport, for example, with 450-foot home runs this year, yet he has 15 home runs. That's counterintuitive or doesn't make sense. They run incongruent from each other.
It doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. So I just want to see it for a full year like I saw it in 2021. Am I asking for too much is kind of the point.
Okay. How long has this stretch been right now?
It's been really good. A half year?
So let's say screw the first half of the year.
Okay.
It's much more important for him to do it in the second half of the year, and it's much more important for him to do it in the postseason.
I'm with you.
Along with the rest of the team. So I don't disagree with you. Like, hey, don't give me a few months. Don't give me an 80-game year. That's a perfect way to put it. However, if I'm getting your absolute best in the second half
at the right time,
and you're also driving the Padres into the postseason, and you also become the face of the reason why the Padres are doing what they're doing. Yes, you need 15 other guys to make it happen, but Tatis is kind of the face of your franchise.
I'll take that.
But that will also, I think, flip the script about the Padres as well. Because I think nationally, if you talk about San Diego, a lot of people will say, they've made the postseason. They've had some disappointments. They were up 2-1 against the Dodgers. This happened, that. But there really isn't like this defining moment for this group of guys in San Diego where you could say, well, they got to a World Series. And I think, obviously that's missing from the resume.
Let's talk to Kevin Acee about the Padres series loss in New York. Also the brilliance of Fernando Tatis Jr. The Padres are off tomorrow and getting ready to open a homestand against the Minnesota Twins. But Kevin Acee from Queens, New York, joining us on the other side of Padres Insider here on Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres lost the rubber match to the Mets today, 4-2 in New York. The team has an off day tomorrow before they start a weekend set at Petco against Minnesota. NFL news: Texans wide receiver Jaden Higgins has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the season. And tonight, SDFC goes on the road to take on Portland. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 o'clock right here on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
We're going to try to connect with Kevin Acee. He's been on the show before.
He has been on the show.
He's been on the show before.
And I don't know if you know this, but he covers the Padres too.
Baseball?
San Diego.
Yeah, that's right. Kevin is in New York, probably writing at this hour.
Yeah.
This game ended a couple of hours ago. I heard him in the clubhouse with Craig Stammen afterwards. So we'll try to connect with Kevin Acee here momentarily.
What would you have asked Stammen today? Would you have said, does the team not want it anymore?
Do you want this job?
Does the team
Are you managing to win? Imagine that.
Does nobody care anymore?
Imagine having never asked a question and you just show up in New York. Do they just not care anymore, Craig? All right, let's talk to Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider.
The team.
Here's what Kevin, we're joking as if we're asking Craig Stammen our first question of the year, and we're going to be like, have you lost this team based on losing this series? Like, what's going on right now? We're joking. I would start with this. As well as the Padres have played where they hadn't lost a series in their last 7, is it reasonable to just drop a series even if it is against a team that's under 500? I know the Mets are playing well, but it's just part of baseball, right? You will lose series along the way, and that's what happened this week. How do you look at it?
Yeah, I do look at it that way, but I also look at it like, okay, well, you played well enough to win. You made mistakes. Yeah. You had a coaching blunder, but you just got 3 quality starts, and not just quality. You got 3 starts with 2 runs or fewer, guys that went at least 6 innings. You had a heroic night for Fernando Tatis Jr. You just let Robert Stock off the hook. So I think you have to be cognizant, right? That oh boy, this could have been a lot better. And so, yeah, but look, I think they look at it that way too. It's a different vibe now when they drop a game like they did in Cleveland, drop a game like they did, or a series here. It's a different vibe than it was back when they were pretty much stressing, I'm going to say a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I think missed opportunity. I think that's the best way to put it. Kevin, you mentioned Tatis here for a quick second, and can I just ask? We're trying to watch this thing on TV, and there's only so much of a vibe that we get through that experience. What was yesterday like being at the stadium and obviously in one of the largest markets, the largest market in the country? And just seeing what Tatis did yesterday and, obviously seeing how everybody's talking about it after the game. Everybody, if you go on social media, everywhere you look, they're showing his highlights. What was that just in person, that Tatis experience?
There's a vibe in New York that is unlike anywhere else, and especially a night game. And the Mets have been playing well. That's first. So then he does that in New York. And then he mugged. I'm an old man, and I appreciate that stone cold action after catching that ball. That was amazing. It was almost as amazing as the play itself. And the crowd, I swear they cheered. Now, they groaned, but they cheered. Now, he was booed loudly every other time that he came up after that, especially after he hit the second home run. But for him to do that in New York and play it like he did is unlike anywhere else. It was a Tatis moment. I feel like it was, when you combine it with all the other little moments he's had in the last month, it signaled, okay, all right, this is a guy who can carry them into the playoffs.
Kevin Acee is our Padres Insider. I want to follow up on that. And the guy's been brilliant for a long period of time. But my expectations for him remain so high, as if I want him to be, one of the best players in the sport, one of the, top 2 or 3 players in the sport. Is it fair to say he's a little bit perplexing, where he can have 450-foot home runs like nobody else, but he can also have a season in which, he's sitting on 15 home runs, not 55. Is it fair to even expect more because of what we've seen previously from how good of a player this can be?
Yeah, this is a guy who should every once in a while rise up and have 9 WAR, right?
Right.
This is a guy who Like last year, we looked at it as disappointing. He was a 6+ WAR guy. Like this is a guy who has, I think there was before the suspension and injury, he and Juan Soto were tied for 3 seasons or something, or he was right below Juan Soto and, weighted runs created plus. Yeah. Like this guy, by every metric is what I'm saying. This is one of the best players in the league. And then he does things that, he has like 4 tools that most players would die to have, like one, right? They would be able to make themselves like a decent career. And so that's how special he can be. So you are spot on, extremely perplexing. It's like this guy's what I would hate. I think we talked about it before, that like maybe last year or something. I would hate that, like what we end up sort of thinking about when we think about him is that he was so talented that even when he sucked, he had an 820 OPS. Like, because, wait a minute, why not have a 920 OPS, Dottie?
Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, joining us here on the Schaeffer and Sliwa Show. Kevin, we were talking, obviously a big part of the conversation why the Padres have put themselves in a position to be in this wild card race is because of their offense over this handful of weeks. You call it a little bit over a month here. Last 5 games, just the inconsistency, the one run in the loss against the Guardians, 1 run on Monday against the Mets, and we know the amount of opportunities that they had, and then this afternoon, 2 runs against the Mets. What have you noticed in the games where they are putting up 6-7 runs versus the games that they did struggle like they have in 3 of these last 5 games?
I mean, I really don't know. And it's actually like longer than that. So maybe I, shouldn't know. But I guess it's one of those things where they would say, well, if we knew, we'd fix it. I really can't tell you. I think Robert Stock was a little weird today, like in terms of where he threw from and how he threw. That's not an excuse. I'm just saying, like, it was different and they didn't respond well. A few of those games, I'm pretty sure, were pitchers like him that they hadn't seen before. Again, not making an excuse. I'm trying to, because I have been thinking about this, and it's actually been, it might be a dozen games or more where almost everyone is like that, where 5+ runs, 1-2 runs, 5+ runs, 2-3 runs, something like that, every other game. And I don't know. I really don't. But it's, again, we should be real bullish on this team at this point. But we have to have in the back of our mind, like, these types of things.
That's a good point. What comes next? You've done some reporting here on Joe Musgrove. What comes next for Musgrove?
It's a minor league start. I'm not sure where. I was told it could even be more than one, but probably not. That was probably just someone saying, like, we don't know yet. We haven't made up our mind and all that. They want him to be able to, they want him to do what he did last time, whatever it was, 80 pitches, up 5 innings, and throwing really well, and then recover and do it again and recover. And then they're going to be like, okay, now we're ready, because we're in a pennant race here is what they're saying. And they got those 2 starters. Look at what's happened here with these guys last, I'd say 8 of their last 11, 6 innings. 4 in a row for the first time since early 2025, 4 quality starts in a row. Like the urgency to get Joe Musgrove back is not as great. And so, okay, let's, they got a day off. How do they get through Friday? And then it's back to the 4 starters who have been doing really well. So they can make it through like another time. They think that will be best for Joe and best for them.
Kevin, just to play off of that, let's say perfect scenario, things are going well for Joe Musgrove. He's ready to come back up with the Padres, and whatever that looks like. Is there a world where that 5th spot in the rotation, Musgrove kind of works his way into? I know there isn't that much time left in the schedule, but is that kind of the idea and the concept there?
Oh, yeah, he's the 5th guy. Someone's going. Someone's leaving. Not one of the starters. But someone's going, and then someone's moving to the bullpen. It's pretty. I think it's fairly. No one has told me this. They've tried to tell me, maybe Canning, maybe Hart. Yeah, right. Okay, Canning's gone. Vasquez to the bullpen. Mm-hmm. Like, it's pretty straightforward, right? You're at a point in the season you don't need a mop-up guy, and your mop-up guy can be Kyle Hart if you've got to do that, or Randy Vasquez if you got to do that. And then in September, you're going to get an extra guy. So, but yeah, Joe's coming back, and that's why it's a thing. They want him back to be able to go 80 pitches plus. And, look, they understand he's going to need to use a little bit of the regular season to get to where, like, he can be, to be Joe, right? But they don't want it to be that he's working back. I don't know if you recall it. I know we were in Cincinnati, and Joe came back after in one of those fits and starts in 2024. And he came back, and he was really good for a couple innings and then petered out. And that's a typical thing when a guy's been off for a while, and they don't want that to happen.
Last one from me, Kevin. We asked you this recently, but is it now more likely than not that Ethan Salas gets a call up along the way between now and the end of the regular season? Would you say that's more likely than not or not?
I really don't know. The more I talk to people, the more I'm like, I'm afraid to say anything. I still think he's coming up because why not? Because there's a lot that goes into it. But in short, the clock starts. Don't think that's an issue. But the fact is, if he's on the 40-man roster, they can't talk to him during the lockout, right? And, all baseball people's position until December 1st will be, well, if there's a lockout. Everybody knows there's a lockout, right? So their decision will come down to, is it better for him to come up and then not be available to, the season starts a month late, 2 months late, to be getting at bats in AAA. That's basically what the decision will come down to. Now, I think Ethan Salas' background. His dad is basically his coach. The guy works his butt off. It's not like they're probably worried about a few guys, major leaguers in the during the lockout more than they are Ethan Salas. But those major leaguers have been major leaguers. They want Ethan Salas to have experience. So I think that's what it's going to come down to, is which do they think is more valuable? Because the fact is, might he get a big clinch? Oh, great time to get Ethan Salas in. Might he come in and catch some innings in a game? Sure. But they're in a pennant race, right? So or a playoff race. That's an old term. Back when the only people that made the playoffs won the pennant, right? They're in a playoff race here, and so it's not like Ethan Salas is going to be coming up and starting unless someone gets hurt.
Kevin, I'm going to squeeze one more quick one in here as well. Robbie Ray yesterday. What did you make of his start, and how much of his line is because of what Tatis did, and how much would you say he also pitched pretty well? Where would you put it?
Both. Great point, because the line ain't what it is if Tatis doesn't do what he does.
Yep.
But that was Robbie Ray. That was Robbie Ray that you saw those starts. What was it? 8 starts before he came to the Padres, had a 109 ERA, tied for the lowest in the major leagues in that span. Lots of walks, homer here and there, some hits, guys get on base, locked down. And it wasn't that way as much the first couple starts, especially the first one. And then sort of showed it by getting out of the 4th inning against Milwaukee. And then yesterday, that's what they got Robbie Ray for. Yep, walks, little bit, little cease-ish, little Snellish. Doesn't have quite their stuff anymore, but gets out of it. That was Robbie Ray.
Kevin, appreciate you doing it. Enjoy what they call a day off. I don't know if it's a day off for you. You're traveling actually tomorrow, but enjoy tomorrow, and we'll catch up with you again on Friday.
So right on. Take care.
There is a lot in there that we need to react to, and
yes,
we will. On the other side, here until 6 p.m., great giveaways for you today, including this 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance on August 30th. This is Schaeffer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. All right, Schaeffer and Sliwa. You have something to read out?
SDFC is back on the road tonight when they take on Portland. Our coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. You got a good call coming up at 4:30, by the way. Play-by-play voice of Portland will join us. We'll break down that game.
By the way, I've always liked the name Portland Timbers.
Yeah,
it kind of fits. Right?
Yeah.
Like it kind of works for Portland. There's my take on the match.
That's huge.
Fletcher Johnson does play-by-play
huge.
for the Timbers. Like, honestly, I come from the minor league baseball background.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if I need every team, like in the league, for example, all being like Austin FC and Miami SC or FC. Like, I don't mind the originality. I'm just saying in general.
No,
I don't mind but it is, I get it culturally or within soccer. It's kind of how it's done.
I would have took a Atletico SD. I would have took something like that.
Yeah, something
just
like that.
Freaking,
but what about something
swinging?
But what about like the Toledo Mud Hens? Like, why can't you be like the San Diego Ironfish?
It's
That'd be a weirder name.
No, that's a really good point. I mean, that's.
But there's the Red Bulls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes I get it, and there's also like LAFC, and you could be successful with any name. Is my point.
Sure.
But what do you think of Ironfish?
Ironfish it's
not a terrible name.
Yeah, it's a really interesting one.
It's not a good one.
I was shocked we haven't. You know, when we eventually get Midway Rising, when that gets done, and we get our stadium there, and then we get an NHL team there, because that's my vision.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go NHL first. Okay, we'll worry about the NBA another time. I always thought let's get an association with the name military-wise down here. Just some type of association. That's San Diego. San Diego's freaking through and through.
So you're saying if there was an NHL team, you would want something with a military tie in the moniker. I'm with you on that.
Absolutely.
Of course. Absolutely.
Representing the military, that's a big part of San Diego. I think it would just sound and look badass too from a competitive perspective.
Military Sundays for the Padres, obviously.
Sure,
I've always thought, I will say this, not that anyone's asking, I've always thought Padres a great team name.
It is a great name. I agree.
It is a great name
completely
across sports, but I'm with you on that.
And I like that we actually went back identification-wise.
To PCL. I mean, that's a PCL tie to their time in AAA. Because the Padres existed before the Padres.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that I like that we actually have an actual identity again.
Oh, you're saying away from the Navy?
The jerseys,
the Navy
all that
terrible.
stuff. Terrible.
The Navy and white, like so nondescript and non-San Diego. All right, so Kevin kind of agreed with the idea that, hey, Tatis is such a unique character where he can do what he did, but you can still ask for more. And I do think that's fair, right? Like you can have really, really, really high expectations for Fernando Tatis Jr. And I hope we don't say at the end of his career, man, Tatis was special, but can you imagine if, ... Like, I don't want to say, can you imagine if with Tatis?
Can I simplify it for us?
Simplify it, my friend.
Let's just be in the present moment. And in the present moment right now, Tatis got a lot of people turning their head back towards Fernando Tatis. You're in an actual playoff run, which we probably did not feel very confident about a couple months ago.
Right.
You have a rotation that could get you into the playoffs. You have enough bats out there that could get you into the postseason. Maybe Tatis just becomes the head of the snake, and this is going to be the next version of Tatis. And I think the less we worry about, do you remember in 2021?
Right.
So freaking long ago.
He's moved past that.
And it's just, here's the reality. It's so long ago. Like 5 years in sports is a long ass time, especially for Tatis, because he's had so much happen from 2021 to where we're sitting here today.
I like what you said, though, about like just be in the present. Maybe all I'm asking, I want him with his abilities one time to carry San Diego further than they've ever gone. That's a big ask. But you see what I'm saying? Like, I see this player, he can be the head of a snake of a team that can do damage along the way. I don't know if it's 2026 or 28 or 30. I don't want to go his whole career. And I get it. I'm getting ahead of myself and be like, oh my gosh, this guy was the greatest.
No,
he was the most unique Padre ever, but he never played in a World Series. Like that's the last story I want to tell.
That part of it, I think, is fair. Like, I think that part is, and by the way, this is how you will be remembered. So you're either going to be remembered as the guy that carried the San Diego Padres. You had your ups and your downs. You had times where everybody
doubted you.
doubted you, couldn't have been more disappointed in you.
Yep.
Like he's got some real ups and real downs with the San Diego Padres. And the funny thing is his personality, like he's such a likable person.
He is.
People want to like Fernando Tatis. I can't say the same thing about Machado.
Right.
But that's okay. It doesn't matter. Like personalities are different. But my point is that everyone's rooting for you. Like you have the city in the palm of your hand. And there's only so much that he can do.
Of course.
We've talked about this, that when people say the Padres go as Machado goes, which I think it's blown out of proportion. I don't like it, but I understand it.
Right.
Maybe we get to a point where it's like, hey, the Padres go as Tatis goes, and Tatis is carrying them. But I think it's fair what you just said. At the end of the day, are your greatest days behind you, or are they in front of you?
And don't you like
maybe they're just right now,
which is I'm fine with as well. But like when Manny signed the deal, which for a brief period of time was the richest deal in American sports history, his first 10-year deal before Harper signed like 2 weeks later. When Manny signed the deal, none of us were cool with the idea of him spending his whole career here and not getting to a World Series. I mean, I'm all for him making the Hall of Fame, which he's going to do. I'm all for him being the franchise's home run leader and RBI leader and whatever else he's going to compile. That's great. He's represented this incredible era of time with the fans. But like, you got to play in a World Series. You just have to. To me, that's a big part of the story for a player of the caliber of Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis.
Yeah, and I think, what was the mission? Next Monday, we're going to have new ownership come in, and everyone's going to say that they're striving for a championship.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you that Peter Seidler was genuinely striving for a championship. That wasn't talk. That was real.
I agree.
AJ Preller, you could tell by his actions, F them picks, all that stuff, the way he does business. He's trying to get to a World Series. So I think that this is going to be an era of Padres baseball. Do you think people want to say, hey, they made the playoffs again this year? It's 5-7, 3 years in a row. Yeah, but like what happened? Like, how far did you get?
Right.
Well, I mean, 2024, we almost got past the Dodgers.
But at some point, you actually have to do it.
Hey, but the Cubs series, but
it was a good series.
You got in.
Hit the ball hard.
Is that going to be the conversation? Is a conversation when you look back, you're going to always say, well, they got into the playoffs. Then what you've done with your barometer is basically you're saying that Tatis, Machado, all these individuals, they can get you to the postseason, but they can't be real dangerous products that actually get you
have to
a
win
World
one.
Series.
Look, just real quick before Atlanta won a World Series in 1995 before their more recent one in 21.
Yeah.
So, but they won the NL West at the time in the 90s. It was whack when they were with San Francisco, whatever it was. They won their division like 14 consecutive years back when that never happened, right? It was different. And they were a disappointment all the time.
Right. That's what they were known for, is only getting one.
But they won one.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
I would
if they
love
never-
to be a disappointment
If they never
that
did,
got one.
If they never did, the whole story is different with Maddox and Glavine and Chipper
100%.
Jones and
100%.
Andrew Jones, but
Yeah.
they won one. So
Yeah.
if the Padres make it 9 of 13 years with Tatis, who cares? I'm just
As
making
in
it up.
making it to the playoffs?
Yeah. And they win one, and that's it. I'm cool with it. You're cool with
Bro,
it. The
are
whole
you
series.
kidding me?
But if they
Of
make it
course.
9 out of 13 and never win, what's that story?
Yeah.
It's a different one, a completely different one.
Well, and the unique thing here in San Diego is never got one.
In any of these things.
So there's also, it goes much further. The conversation then isn't, well, at least they got one. It's, brother, you are kings to San Diego forever.
Forever.
It's a lot different.
Everything changes with one. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. We've got tickets to give away to see My Chemical Romance. Fletcher Johnson calls games for the Portland Timbers. SDFC playing Portland tonight. You can hear it on 760. He'll join us at 4:30. Stay with us, Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app. Hey guys, it is Schaeffer again for my friends at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place. August is a great month to get out to Starlight Pool, where you can experience next-level chill, soak up the sun, soak in the views. It's San Diego's ultimate rooftop pool with day passes starting at just $40, so you can grab your friends and relax. Make it a pool day to remember, plus you can keep the weekend vibes going. They've got Sunday pool parties at Starlight Pool with live DJs and cocktails, cabanas, all-day rooftop energy. This at the Hotel and Spa at Hamul Casino Resort, where you can experience elevated luxury with their refined hotel stay and rooftop relaxation, indulgent spa treatments, all the excitement of Hamul Casino Resort seamlessly brought together in one unforgettable destination. And now, take your stay to the next level. They have exclusive hotel packages crafted for the ultimate escape, and enjoy all their food options like Hamul 23 with their lobster buffet every day, where you can enjoy all you can eat lobster every day, plus dozens of other delicious stations at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players Place.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. Padres lost the rubber match to the Mets today in New York 4-2. They got an off day tomorrow before they start a weekend set with the Twins at Petco. NFL news: Texans wide receiver Gene Higgins has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the season. And tonight, SDFC goes on the road to take on Portland. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren begins right here at 7 o'clock on your home for San Diego FC, San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
It's Schaeffer and Sliwa. Sean Schaeffer and San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. You're Schaeffer and Sliwa.
All right, hour 2 here on Schaeffer and Sliwa. We'll switch gears at 4:30, talking about an MLS match coming up tonight. You can hear it on 760. SDFC on the road in Portland.
Another big game.
Taking on the Timbers.
Squad in front of the in front of SDFC in the West.
All right, so we'll talk Timbers, SDFC.
Most teams are in front of SDFC right now.
True, but they're certainly in arm's reach right now.
Yeah,
of all
everything's
those
close.
teams in close proximity to them. So we'll talk about that coming up at 4:30. Then in the 5 o'clock hour, Adam Auslund. Say his last name.
Auslund. Yeah,
Auslund?
Adam Auslund.
Clippers
Yep.
pre and post. He's going to join us coming up at 5 p.m. Also today, we do have a 4-pack of tickets to give away to see My Chemical Romance. If you want them, all you need to do is tell us if you're glass half full or glass half empty right now on the Padres. You need to do it on the talkback mic. Hit up the iHeartRadio app, search for San Diego Sports 760, click that red talkback microphone. Where would you land there?
Yeah, I think most people. I'd be surprised if people are pessimistic about the Padres right now.
Even off the big series loss.
Ugly 3 games. I mean, offensively, very inconsistent. No clutch hits really other than Tatis. No real play other than Tatis. Great pitching. Listen, I think you could even look at the series loss to the Mets and walk away with 2 or 3 positives. Tatis is absolutely killing it, and your pitching staff was pretty good. Right. Michael King was pretty good. Casey Mize was against Cleveland. Walker Buehler was pretty good again, giving up a couple runs, but offensively that was a struggle. But I think most people still got to feel optimistic about the Padres.
I agree with you. All right, let's get to it.
It's time for the wrap. Presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Is Padres going 3-3 on the road trip a success?
Definitely not. I mean, I think success is with how well they've been playing. 4-2 is a success. 5-1 is a great road trip. 6-0, it's like literally you were flawless. 3-3 it's a little disappointing. It really is, especially because you kind of handled business in that first series. You took 2-3. You played good enough against the Mets in some of these games. You and I have highlighted what the pitching did, the starting pitching did, and even the bullpen for the most part. So definitely not a success. I don't think it was a success, but it's also not the end of the world going 3-3, and you really didn't lose ground. And we'll kind of keep an eye on this Arizona Red Sox game, but Arizona could get swept, or they'll take one of 3 from the Red Sox. You didn't at least lose ground in the wild card.
No, you've actually, correct me if I'm wrong, I think they've gained ground. I think they were
if
one
Arizona
up or even.
Wins, then I think they stayed even.
The same.
Yeah.
They head to the bottom of the 9th inning in a tie game in Boston. So we'll see what happens. But if Boston does win, and again, they're at home, then the Padres have actually gained ground on the trip. So I can live with it. It's not perfect, but you go on the road, sometimes you're going to have a 500 trip. And if that's the worst thing in the world, then that's really not the worst thing in the world. So I can live with it considering where they stand, so to speak, in the standings. Next question.
Is the old Tatis back?
I think he is. I mean, again, I'll go back to yesterday, and here's the good thing. This is not just a brief ball. How many home runs does he have now? 15?
15.
He spotted 50-something games without hitting a home run. He's up to 15.
Right.
And he's not just hitting balls, or he's just not hitting home runs. He's hitting 425 to 450 to 470-foot bombs in a lot of these stadiums. You know how I could tell he's back? Look at the way he's acting. After a home run, the swag of just dropping the bat. A couple times when they were at Petco, he hit a home run, looked back in the dugout, and gave a look to his teammates like, yeah, that was pretty. Like he's got that aura about him again. So feels like he's back. Feels like he's back.
I think he is. He's doing things that he did in his absolute heyday, so to speak, at the heights that he reached as a younger player. I think he's back, and I hope this is who he is for the remainder of the year. You can't predict that. You can't predict the future. But I do think this player can help this team go a long way, potentially, if he remains this player. So it's been a joy to watch. Hopefully it continues for Fernando. Next question.
How will you feel if SDFC wins on the road again tonight?
Phenomenal. I mean, I think coming off that game versus LAFC and SDFC just having such an impressive performance. I don't care how they won. Maybe they got a little lucky. It doesn't matter. I mean, they've also had a lot of things go against them so far this year. So, however they win, if you can get 3 more points, I'm trying to look right now. I want to see exactly where they are because I know they're in 12th, but I want to see how many points they are from Portland. So, Portland has 24 points. Seattle has 24 points. SDFC has 24 points. And then Colorado and Minnesota in front of them each have 25 points. If you walk away with 3 points tonight, they can catapult from 12th to 7th. That's how kind of clogged this thing is. And I think one of the differences between them and a lot of these other teams in the MLS, they got momentum going their way. They took 2 games in Leagues Cup. They were playing well right out of the World Cup break. So if they get 3 points tonight, I think we're looking at a different SDFC team, and I'll really start believing again.
Well, I remember we had Darren Smith, who's on the call with Adrian Garcia Marquez here on 760. And he made the point of, like, if you get in, things can happen in soccer, right? I mean, you're talking about, like, best of 1s or best of 3s actually in that first round, but then a lot of, like, single elimination where you can win. You just want to be playing well at the right time. They got to get in. And they're capable of doing that based on how they've played since the World Cup. I really believe that.
I'll take one thing back. Everybody's playing tonight. So it doesn't technically mean they're going to the number 7 spot, but they just got to handle their own business. They'd certainly jump up a couple of spots if they win tonight.
You need to issue a retraction.
How do I?
Let's start the show over. Run it back.
I'm going to work on a letter. I'm going
to the listeners.
A handwritten letter to
everyone.
Listeners.
If you want that from Alan, email him. Next question.
They'll sign it for you. Will the Lakers' ownership instability impact them on the court?
I think it will. And I think it will impact them. I saw a report, I think this was yesterday. They had plans of, like, hiring some more people for the front office.
Okay.
And everything's on hold now.
Like, when you say, like, people to work on, like, basketball operations, like scouting.
I think one was analytics.
Okay. So they want to make these hires, but it's on hold because of the situation playing out with the Bus family.
No, it's on hold because they're going through. That's going to be a separate situation.
Okay.
But it's going to be on hold because you are now a pending sale.
Okay, gotcha.
So why is old ownership going to go make a hire for new ownership?
Yeah.
Now, maybe there's hey, we'll start the process and new ownership can start doing that.
Yeah.
But I think it's impossible that it doesn't have an effect. And I think the Bus family situation, I think the longer that drags out, that one's more just like a circus. It could affect stuff on court because here's what's going to happen. You'll get to training camp on October 1st and it's media day. Nobody's going to ask Luka. People are going to ask Luka, hey, Luka, when you got here, didn't it feel like there was going to be some stability and you got a new ownership? Now there's a new one. I think those stuff have an effect.
You know, when, like, everyone in the room knows something and you're, like, the last person to know it, kind of like the Jeannie Buss situation. Not that she's the last to know something, but everyone is saying, like, you've had your turn. It's now time. And everyone recognizes that but her.
Yeah.
And that could lead to a very awkward situation that plays out.
I saw something she may be trying to purchase the shares of her family members.
To keep it at 15%.
Keep it over 15. Again, I think you're right. I don't think she's reading the room of who knows, what her dad had hoped for. It's like, always keep this in the family.
That's true.
Maybe it could be that,
That's
right?
True.
But I think if you ask most Laker fans, they'd be like, yeah, go ahead. We're ready to kind of turn the page here, start a new ownership group.
You talk about an offseason, though, and you know it better than I. With LeBron leaving, that wasn't necessarily the expectation late in the year in the postseason.
Luke Kennard gone.
Luke Kennard gone, just like that.
I mean, the Kennard one.
It's just huge. But then not this. Then the Mark Walters situation. Sure. Then this. It's a lot. That's a lot that's played out with an organization.
All I want to know is how it affects the
LeBron's legacy,
NL West, and the Dodgers. That's all I care about. At this point, that's all I care about.
It could, and I know you're being serious.
No,
and
I am being serious because I think it can have a genuine effect.
But it's also not guaranteed to, at least right now.
Yeah.
Like right now being the 2026 baseball season, I don't think it'll have a big impact.
I think you're right, but I will tell you this. The image of that brand looks different today because your owner is going through all these different things and these investigations and everything else. Looks different.
You know who I want to hear from on the other side? I've been trying to get to this. Craig Stammen postgame. I've been trying to play it for whatever reason you don't want to play it. We'll play Craig Stammen on the other side, his postgame conversation with the media. Then Fletcher Johnson does play-by-play for the Portland Timbers.
Craig, you dropped 2 or 3 versus the Mets in
New York. Do you want to be here?
Kind of late August. Do you feel like you've lost the team?
You had won 8 straight series. You have the best record in baseball over the last month. But have you lost this team? Serious question, Craig. You going to answer it?
I'll take your answer off here.
Craig Stammen on the other side. Fletcher Johnson coming up at 4:30. Adam Auslund, who does pre and post for the Clippers at 5 p.m. Stay with us. Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760, live on the iHeartRadio app.
Teachers make a difference each and every day. Now's your chance to say thank you. iHeartRadio's Thank a Teacher, powered by donors. Choose, nominate an outstanding public school teacher who goes above and beyond for students. They could be one of our $5,000 winners for classroom supplies and resources. Teachers give so much. Now it's our turn to give back. Now, nominate a teacher right now at iHeartRadio.com/teachers, iHeartRadio.com/teachers.
All right, let's hear from Craig Stammen.
Hey, what do you know?
We'll switch gears to SDFC playing Portland tonight, coming up at 4:30. I've been trying to get to this.
Right.
How does this start, Brent? First of all,
yeah, look, it starts with Craig Stammen talking about the game from earlier today against the Mets.
No.
That's how it starts.
It starts with Craig Stammen. Are you disappointed in the series, Craig?
We pride ourselves in trying to win as many series as we can. You go on the road to a team that's playing good, lose the series, a couple of tight games that just didn't go our way. And, we got to go home and get back at it. And the good thing is we love playing at home and we're pretty good at home. So looking forward to this homestand.
The eighth there just kind of crumbled around Jeremiah, a couple softer hits and in the air.
Yeah.
Is that what you saw?
Yeah, exactly. I think, he's still working his way back, from the injury, and he doesn't look as dialed in as what he has been, at his best. But we're working his way there, and getting him in games like that are important. And fighting through, a little bit of adversity is important for him to be able to handle that. It's just one of those innings, he's almost out of it. We turned that double play and, come out smelling like a rose. But that isn't what happened. And, Yuki came in, did a pretty good job, still gave it the one. But, we had our chances in this game and just didn't quite happen.
How's Xander doing?
He's fine. I think he just had a cramp. He's just being precautious with it. And a hot day like today, humid, long travel. Felt like it was the right time to get him out of the game.
Hamstring cramp unrelated to the hit by pitch.
Yeah, unrelated. Yeah.
You've gotten, I think, 4 quality starts in a row, 5, 6, 9 this month. You weren't getting that for most of the season. What does that do for just the group, the pitching staff in general? What can it do in terms of keeping guys in the bullpen fresh?
Yeah, you're right. I think leading up to that, bullpen was getting used quite a bit. And now they've been given a little bit of a breather here with a couple off days and starters going deep in games. We love how the starting staff is going right now. I think they've taken to it, that they can be a big part of us winning. They have been a big part of us winning a lot of games here lately. And, we'll need more of that, as the season ends and to keep our bullpen fresh when we really need them.
What did you think generally of Michael today?
Yeah, I thought he pitched good today. I thought it was one of his better outings. Just gave up that home run down the left field line from a lefty and just curved down the pole. But other than that, he was in command of about everything today.
Hayes in the ninth, right on right. Is there something about the swing or the
No, it was kind of, feeling like we had a better hitter probably in the box. You could argue both ways and we kind of went that way.
All right. That was Craig Stammen.
All right, good stuff
fighting for his job.
Good stuff on the Xander, just potentially just cautious about that and could be just cramps.
So can we talk about Xander for a second?
Yeah.
That's all I want to say. I mean, I have nothing to say. Thankfully, the team's playing well.
I thought about this when they took him out of the game for the cramps. I'm like, well, I'd rather have him in than not have him in. I'd rather have him there than not there.
Right.
I mean, look, they've done the right thing. They moved him down in the batting order. He's come through with a couple clutch hits here and there, but this.
Right. Coming through, that would be like saying if we did a radio show every day, like they play baseball every day, we better have a good show.
No, it would mean that we have one good segment every other day. That's like
you're saying, is that good enough?
Of course, it's not good enough. That's my point.
Actually, what we do, it might be, but yeah, you have to produce beyond. I'm past the point of dealing with it, honestly. With Xander.
Here's Xander in a nutshell. There's no expectations left. When he does come through with something, everybody gets excited because we never get a chance to get excited about him. And, you just hope for come postseason, if they can get there, that he has a moment or two. Because I think the only thing left with Xander Bogaerts now is if he has a clutch moment at the right time, where you can look back and say, hey, Xander was never good, never lived up to that contract, but he had a couple of moments in like a key playoff game.
100% with you on that.
But that's what it's come down to. That's the only thing left, because we know he's not going to do it for 162 games. You know it's not going to just change next year or 2 years from now. Of
course not. It's only more unlikely as time passes.
More unlikely. Yeah. So the only thing really left is like he has some critical moments where you can say, well, at least he did this.
You know, the amazing thing with a sport like this, I talked to you about this like off air. It's like very, very rarely in a sport like basketball, you're like, wow, this guy's such a brilliant shooter, and all of a sudden he's fallen off the face of the map. Or in a sport like football, oh my gosh, this quarterback's so incredible, and now he's no longer a really good quarterback. And that things can happen with injury or changing teams. You know, this happens all the time in baseball. What I'm about to say about Xander, he had this great first half of his career, and then he's been a completely different player, obviously, in San Diego. And then like within a season, like what were we saying recently? I'll switch to Merrill. What were we saying recently about Merrill? I'm like, this guy's been unbelievable. He's hitting everything hard. He's hit all these home runs.
Now he's swinging at everything is under close.
The wheels can fall off real quick. Yeah. How opponents are pitching you, you know, and I don't know if it's more Merrill or the strategies of opponents right now, but probably like Merrill was going so good, and all of a sudden he's not going the way he's going.
We'll have a point where we'll say Tatis is struggling.
Of course.
There was a point where we were predicting Manny was going to have 30, 35 home runs. I know he hit one yesterday.
Did get one yesterday to get to what, 24?
Maybe something like that.
He may or may not get to 30, to your point.
But my point is that of all these players, by the way, it ain't just them. Every player in baseball that, you know, you run into. But the Xander one's different. Xander, you more mad at Xander, or you more mad that
it's not that I'm mad
they were
Xander.
Sloppy with their contract.
Yeah, probably the team.
Yeah, it is the team. It is a team.
But it's like I can't do anything about that anymore. And I see this player every day. Sure. And I'm like, this is
it. Here's the problem too. The problem is like, yes, he's not worth 280 million. Can you be worth 140 million?
Right. Can you be worth 70?
Like, can you be can you just have respectable numbers where people could look at and say, you're definitely not living up to the contract, but you're still an asset to this team?
Right.
That's more of the problem.
All right, let's switch gears to SDFC in action tonight against Portland. We're going to talk to their play-by-play voice, Fletcher Johnson, on the other side, the play-by-play voice of the Portland Timbers, as we get ready for tonight. Adam Auslund, Clippers pre- and post-game host, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. More reaction to the Padres series loss to the Mets as well at Citi Field. Stay with us on Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres lost a rubber match to the Mets today 4-2 in New York. The team's got an off day tomorrow. Then they start a weekend set against the Twins at Petco Park. NFL news, Texans wideout Jaden Higgins has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the season. And tonight, SDFC goes on the road to take on Portland. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren will begin at 7 o'clock right here on your home for SDFC San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
All right, San Diego Sports 760 getting ready for tonight. A big one for SDFC.
Oh, big one.
Taking on the Portland
Let's go.
Timbers, and Fletcher Johnson calls games for Portland. Is with us right now on the home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760. Fletcher, we appreciate you taking time for us. This is kind of
like a rivalry right now, even in us talking to you right now.
It really is.
Yeah,
right?
No doubt about it.
And
right?
this is
it's a big
match.
meeting in the last 360 days.
And a big match tonight, right? At this point in the season with what's on the line for both of these clubs, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Both maybe not where they had hoped to be at the beginning of the season. San Diego, as you well know, coming off a first place finish in the West last year, and the Timbers losing in the first round, but feeling like they had some momentum and reason to believe that this was going to be a better season. They let go of their manager right at the beginning of the World Cup break, and ever since the World Cup break ended, the Timbers have been playing really well, just suffering their first defeat in league play last Sunday in Chicago.
Well, let me ask you this, because I think the SDFC, it's been all over the place this year, and there were such high expectations, and we'll see what happens. Still a lot of, obviously, matches to be played. Can you just give us the overall scope for San Diegans who are going to be watching this match tonight? When Portland's at their best, what does it look like? When they're struggling, what does it look like? How is current momentum for the Portland Timbers? We'd love just a kind of a quick background on them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, since they restarted play July 16th, the Timbers smashed Seattle in that first game back after the World Cup break up in Seattle 5-1, and they've been really flying ever since. They lost one match in Leagues Cup, won the other two, and then, as I mentioned, lost in Chicago on Sunday. But when the Timbers are playing well, they're possessing the ball. Under new manager Marty Cifuentes, this will be his first home match in charge of the club in league play, and he is from Spain, likes to possess the ball, kind of a believer in that total football mindset. So this would look a lot different than every Timbers San Diego match that people have listened to or watched thus far. The previous 6 meetings, San Diego's had at least 61% possession of the ball, and the Timbers were okay with that, and we're happy to play on the counterattack. It's much different now under the new manager, Marty Cifuentes. They want to possess the ball, do the Timbers, and make sure that they have the lion's share of possession. That is when they're at their strength. The weakness of the Portland Timbers remains conceding early goals. They've given up the most goals in the first 15 minutes in Major League Soccer at 20 so far this season. And also, they do not like to be pressed, which is something that I know San Diego can do pretty well. If San Diego presses high, the Timbers can have difficulty building out of the back, passing out of the back, and giving away cheap turnovers in their defensive third or in the middle third. So that'll be kind of a key, especially early on in the match tonight.
SDFC Portland coming up tonight at 7:30. Fletcher Johnson joining us right now on San Diego Sports 760. What do you make of SDFC season coming off their remarkable success in their inaugural year? Disappointing early, but a little bit like Portland, they've played well here since that World Cup break. What stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, as was the case last year, the runner-up for MVP, Andres Dreyer, doing his thing. It's been impressive to see the growth of Marcus Ingvartsen and his goal-scoring prowess. I believe 11 goals, 4 assists so far this season. Obviously, Dreyer not available tonight after picking up the second yellow in stoppage time on Sunday. Or Saturday rather. So I think that that's a big miss for San Diego because so much can go through him. You know, when I look at San Diego, I look at a team that still is dynamic, still can cause problems, But sometimes that first year, we've seen teams, whether it be Atlanta or other clubs that have come into the league, and that first year they come out of the gates flying, and it's almost as though teams don't necessarily know what to expect in the first couple meetings. You know, when you go top of the league in your first season, you put a target on your back for everybody else to say, okay, when we play this team, how do we beat this team? And so I think that there's kind of a natural sophomore slump, if you will, that we've seen San Diego go through in the first half of the season. Now it's up to Mikey Veras and the team to figure out how do they keep the momentum going. As you mentioned, 2 wins in their last 3 and an impressive win on the road at LAFC this past weekend. How do they keep that momentum going? And it was by being able to win games like this last year. You remember San Diego came to Portland on decision day and smashed the Timbers 4-0 in that game after a scoreless draw earlier in August last year. So I think that's the thing is if they can continue to rediscover their road form, just 2 road wins this season, that is going to be a key to a success for them.
Fletcher Johnson, who's part of the Portland Timbers play-by-play team, SDFC taking on the Portland Timbers tonight at 7:30. Fletcher, I'll ask you this question. As you look at the MLS standings, you got, I want to say 5 or 6 teams within 3 points of each other. And, you know, certainly clogged. You get 9 that get in. So we'll see how things all shake out. When you look at some of the teams in the Western Conference, are there some teams that you feel like are not being talked about enough that can do some damage if they get in the postseason? It could even be some of these teams that are all kind of fighting for a playoff spot. You look at Colorado or Minnesota, Portland, Seattle, San Diego, the Galaxy. Is there a team that you feel like a team or two that stands out?
You know, that's a tough one. I mean, I have a hard time believing that the Galaxy are going to make any noise in the postseason. If you're just looking at teams right around the playoff line, Seattle obviously has been going through a ton of injuries. Jesus Ferreira got hurt on Sunday night in the match against Vancouver Whitecaps. I think that continues to be a major issue for Seattle. If they can get healthy, they are always a dangerous team, especially if they just sneak into the playoffs and end up in the wild card match or end up, you know, playing on the road in the first round. That is not a team you want to see. I would say it's the same for the Timbers as well. I don't put a whole ton of stock at this point in Minnesota or Colorado as being real concerning teams to make any sort of deep run. I think the team that probably is not being talked about at all, and I think it's because people are trying to figure out if it's real or not, is St. Louis City. No one expected St. Louis to be anywhere near the playoff picture after, you know, their start to the season and the way they played the last couple of years since their inaugural season, in which they were so dynamic in their first season in the league. But they're on 29 points in 6th place. They have 8 wins. They've gotten 3 wins on the road. And they've got some talented players and some pieces that have really gelled. So I think that they're kind of an interesting story to watch here in the back half of the season to see if they can continue that momentum that they built through the first half and potentially make some noise in the postseason.
Fletcher, final one for me is just on the league as a whole coming out of the World Cup. Have you sensed the impact of the World Cup on soccer in this country with Major League Soccer this year? What do you think the impact has been of the World Cup being here?
I think it's had an impact. You know, it's difficult. I would say it's difficult right now to determine how much of an impact it has had. It is tricky. You know, there was so much conversation a couple of years ago about potentially making the calendar switch right after the World Cup, and they decided to push it back a year and not do it until next July. So they'll do the sprint season. So I think that they might have had a little bit more momentum coming out of that. But one of the things that has had an impact on the Timbers, and I think on a lot of teams across the league, is having that break in the middle of the season has allowed teams to experience what it's like to have those summer months to kind of go out and whether it's interview coaches or try and find players who, you know, are either out of contract or looking for a transfer from clubs over in Europe. You've seen it with different transfers across the league, both in and out across the different teams in the league. So while I don't necessarily know if you've seen a big popularity bump in Major League Soccer since the World Cup, I think that what you're seeing is teams being able to be more active in this summer transfer window because they're not in the middle of their season and identify players that are going to help them not only for the remainder of this year, but then into the sprint season next year. And then when the calendar does eventually switch, in which I believe that will be the time over the course of the following 3 seasons that we could potentially see more of a switch from a, maybe more physical, pacey Major League Soccer to more of what we see in Europe with possession-based style and what some folks might consider to be a prettier game, although that's all in the eye of the beholder. But I think that is a change that could take place just by aligning the global calendar.
Fletcher, I'm curious to get your thoughts as we look at the Western Conference and you look at the top of the West there. It's kind of a two-part question. Is there a team right now that you think should be the favorite? And is it as simple as just saying, well, Vancouver's, they got the most points, that's it, they're the favorite? Or is there another team that you think is the favorite in the Western Conference? And just kind of curious on this, how much of MLS does it fall into just get into the postseason and anything can happen? Because that might be the route that SDFC takes or the route that Portland takes. Would love your thoughts on both of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the first part of the question, I would say pre-World Cup break, it was Vancouver Whitecaps are far and away the number one team in the Western Conference, the team to beat. Obviously, they represented the West in MLS Cup final a season ago. Since the move of Sebastian Berhalter, I think it pulls it a little bit more into question as to whether they are far and away the best team in the Western Conference. The one caveat to that is that Ryan Gauld is officially back in the fold for them after dealing with knee injuries and really having no sort of consistency over the course of the last 18 to 24 months in the starting 11 for this team. But if he comes back and is able to remain healthy, I think it's hard to imagine anybody being able to go to Vancouver and get a win when needed. Now, with that being said, I think Houston is really making a name for themselves with Guilherme, the Brazilian who's come in. He's contributed 68% of the goal contributions for Houston this year. He has really changed the game. Also Artur, the midfielder, probably one of the more unheralded players on their roster, and Jack McGlynn, the former Philadelphia Union player, have really made that team dynamic. They haven't given up a goal in the last 4 games. So I think that those two, to me, are the top 2 teams in the Western Conference. As far as your second question or second part of that question, I think that there is something to be said for getting hot at the right time. The season's so long that, you could start off very poorly, get hot at the end of the year, and then make a run in the postseason. That's what obviously makes Major League Soccer so much different than European soccer, is there is no postseason over there. It adds a different element. So, if you're not necessarily in the running for the Supporter Shield, you do have something to play for to try and get into the playoffs. And I think with the talent that San Diego has on the roster, the talent that the Timbers have on the roster, there's no reason to believe that if, something happens to Vancouver or Houston and some of their players, the example I gave you with the Dynamo and Guilherme, he gets injured, there goes 68% of your production. And then that has to fall to someone else. So I think that's where, again, if you get hot at the right time and maybe one of those top 2 teams suffers an injury here or there that could be devastating in terms of kind of how they play and what they do and the quality that they can put on the field, I think that's where it becomes anybody's game, because you do have teams that have a ton of talent like LAFC. You have San Jose, who are always going to be there with Bruce Arena at the helm. Dallas has been much improved this year. I think it is relatively wide open. It's not like in the past when LAFC, or Seattle were far and away better than pretty much anybody else, and you had to really, really grasp at straws to figure out how someone was going to beat them in the postseason.
Fletcher Johnson, looking forward to tonight, SDFC and Portland, and you can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. Thanks for doing it, man.
Appreciate it.
All right, good stuff.
Surprised you got through that, because I could tell you were like,
I was emotional.
You were like, listen, in 3 hours,
yeah,
you're dead to me.
You are, or Portland is
technically Portland.
Yeah, I'll be watching tonight.
That'd be a fun game.
I'll be watching tonight. All right, the wild card race in the National League is tightening. The latest next on Schaeffer Sliwa.
Not good.
All right, San Diego Sports 760. Race tightening, Alan, in the National League. Padres lose today. Adam Auslund, by the way, will join us. Clippers pre and post coming up in about 12 minutes.
Yes, sir.
But the race is tightening. So the Padres lose, and then you're rooting for teams like Boston to beat Arizona. Well, that doesn't happen. Arizona wins today to pull to within a game of San Diego. And then there's some other results right now that could be tightening this thing up into the final month or so of the year. So what's happening right now?
Phillies up 3-1 and 6 on the Marlins.
Okay.
And you got a couple other teams that are just kind of hanging around. St. Louis being one of those squads. They're up 2-0 on the Reds. They're only in the 4th. But they seem to kind of keep winning.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. There's a couple of these. You go look right now. I'll look at it right now. Wild card standings. 1 game up on Arizona. 2.5 up on St. Louis. So if St. Louis wins, St. Louis has won 7 of 10. They'll win 8 of 10 if they finish this one off. And they'd be about 2 back. And Miami kind of falling the other way, especially if they lose to Philadelphia. So Philly can have a 2-game lead on you plus the tiebreaker. They'll have won 6 in a row if they win today.
Oh, wow.
And, certainly they're kind of figuring some stuff out, which I think we've just assumed they're going to figure some stuff out. But I think the bigger thing, I think that's kind of why there's some disappointment in this series against the Mets. The Padres, nobody's questioning that the Padres haven't played great baseball. They didn't play well against the Mets. And because you didn't play well against the Mets, you'll lose some ground. And things got a little bit tighter. And what could have been a nice 2-game cushion for a second there, you thought, hey, is Boston going to beat Arizona? That's how quick things can change. And now you're just a game up.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Remember what we've said all year about how they do against bad teams? They've been dominant.
They've been really well.
Until the series. They're 40-24 against teams under 500, including losing 2 of 3 here to the New York Mets. But like, as good as I feel about the Padres in terms of how they've played here recently, 7 series coming in without a loss until this Mets series. I mean, the truth is, as you just mentioned, is you're in a horse race with Arizona and St. Louis, where you have just a nose up right now. I mean, 1 game with 30-something games is nothing. That can change in 1 day, obviously.
Yeah, that's why there's such a, there's the take advantage of certain games. I go back to Monday's loss with the base running errors. And what did they have? How many consecutive guys that got on?
7. Without scoring a run until they actually did on a sac fly.
You got 1 run on Monday's game, right? Yeah. So that's the only thing I'm referring to is don't lose out on opportunities because you made mistakes, because it wasn't another team. The Mets didn't outplay the Padres over these 3 games. So that's all. And they'll get back on track. Again, you're going to lose a series between now and the end of the season. That was going to happen. But it's just it's a missed opportunity.
Yeah. And by the way, this upcoming homestand, Minnesota and Pittsburgh, like,
you got to do damage.
Yeah. This is where, go win a couple of series.
That's 4-2 and you won't lose ground. I guarantee if they go 4-2, they're not losing ground in the wild card race. They'll probably gain a game.
Now, again, my goal for this team remains the same, which is to have clinched a playoff spot before the final series of the regular season. However, listen, if you get to the final series of the season and you're even, well, my goal is going to change. It's like, we'll go, win 2 out of 3 against Arizona.
Yeah, your goal is like lock it up by September 1st.
I think, and I'll say this right now, I believe they will play well enough to lock a playoff spot up by that Arizona series.
Okay.
That's how I feel about this team right now. And that's a very confident statement to make because I don't control how Arizona's going to play. And they could play well. I don't control how St. Louis is going to play. And you're right. They've kind of left the door open right now for St. Louis, not because they've played poorly, but because St. Louis is playing well right now.
And again, that's teams are, you're going to imagine some teams are going to fade out. And they have.
True.
Pittsburgh's faded out.
Miami now.
Washington's faded out. Miami could if they lose, will be 4 back. There's some teams that just naturally faded out. There's a couple that are going to stick in there, and there are Arizona and St. Louis. What has St. Louis got to lose? St. Louis got nothing to lose.
Right.
They're an organization that obviously historically They have found a way to be successful. They got no pressure of making the postseason. There's a lot of pressure on the Padres to make the postseason. There's a lot of pressure on Arizona to make the postseason.
And here's the sneaky thing, dude. I say Minnesota and Pittsburgh, right? That's what I just said. Minnesota, if the season ended today, in the postseason at 63 and 65.
That's right.
So they're playing for everything right now.
The AL, basically everybody's still in.
True. And then Pittsburgh, they're not what you typically think. I mean, they're 63 and 66. It's not awful.
No, they're not awful.
They're not awful. So that's the homestand.
But again, I go back. You got two squads that are below 500 that are coming to San Diego in a 6-game stretch. And one of these series before the Pittsburgh series starts, you're introducing new ownership. Like there's a lot going on over this next week or so.
Where do you back Kwanzaa Jones? You bet her 5th?
Yes.
On Monday, I'm bet. Yeah. And where's Jose Feliciano?
He's 5th. She's 4th.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You bat her cleanup. Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. That's why ownership matters because you're changing the entire lineup over.
Lineup changes now
against the Pittsburgh Pirates. By the way, we have a 4-pack of tickets to give away to see My Chemical Romance. If you want a chance to win those tickets, tell us if you're glass half full or glass half empty right now. And the Padres, who now have their wild card lead down to 1 game. Hit us up on the Talkback mic. Search for San Diego Sports 760 in the iHeart app, and then click that red Talkback mic. We can play some of those Talkbacks in the 5 o'clock hour. On the other side, the NBA offseason with Adam Auslund, who does pre and post for the Clippers. It's been an interesting offseason for the Clippers.
Get his thoughts on everything, too.
Lakers,
we can bring
Clippers.
up anything in NBA.
We'll go everywhere we want with Adam Auslund on the other side. If you missed our conversation with Kevin Acee, you'll hear that as well in the 5 o'clock hour coming up at 5:30. So we're here until 6 p.m. Don't go anywhere. Hour 3 of Schaeffer and Sliwa on San Diego Sports 760 and live on the iHeartRadio app is next. Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida. Every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get pumped. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers. Sign up with the code SD760. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by iHeartAdvertising.com. The Padres lost to the Mets today 4-2 in the rubber match. They got an off day tomorrow before they start a weekend set against Minnesota at Petco Park. A couple of NFL notes. Texans wideout Jaden Higgins has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the year. And the Bucks and defensive tackle Vita Vea have come to a 1-year extension to end his hold-in. Tonight at 7 o'clock, SDFC goes on the road to take on Portland. Our pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren will begin right here at 7 o'clock on your home for San Diego FC, San Diego Sports 760. Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, and even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
It's Schaeffer and Sliwa. Sean Schaeffer and San Diego's own Alan Sliwa. Your Schaeffer and Sliwa.
All right, final hour here on Schaeffer and Sliwa. We'll get back to the Padres with Kevin Acee, your Padres Insider, at 5:30. We have a breaking NBA trade at a perfect time as our next guest.
What is this timing was?
The time is amazing because we're about to be joined by the Clippers pre- and post-game host, Adam Auslund. And the Clippers have just made a trade as part of a 3-team trade per ESPN, right? What's the latest here from Shams?
Just saw that from Shams. And by the way, we'll see if this changes anything, but we should be all good with Adam. Looks like Cleveland, Denver, and the Clippers have agreed on a trade, sending Peyton Watson to the Cleveland Cavaliers, Max Strus to LA to the Clippers, and an unprotected 2031 Cavs first-round pick and a 2032 second-round pick to the Nuggets, sources tell ESPN. So Peyton Watson was an unrestricted free agent. This kind of happens at times. You get this delay with some of these unrestricted free agents. To be honest, I think part of the stuff that's also delayed things was the Kawhi situation. That probably had a little bit to do with some of the delay and things as well. I mean, I know that's still going on, but it looks like Peyton Watson, a good player for the Denver Nuggets, going to the Cavs.
This is what you call timing. It doesn't always work like this in this business, but Adam Auslund, who does pre and post for the Clippers, joining us right now on San Diego Sports 760. Adam, we appreciate you taking time for us. We're seeing this in real time, maybe like you are as well. The breaking news from ESPN involving a trade that will send Max Strus to the Clippers. Peyton Watson's going to end up here with Cleveland as well. What do you make of this 3-team trade that's being reported right now by ESPN?
I think everybody did pretty well here. Obviously, the Cleveland Cavaliers getting Peyton Watson when they're in a win-now situation probably made the biggest move, and they're paying him handsomely, $88 million over 4 years. There was that whole discussion over, will he get more than Christian Brown? Will he get less? Well, he got a little bit less, but he still did pretty well for himself at 23 years of age with all the upside that he has. And the Cavaliers now, they may feel like their window is open a little bit more now to still try to contend in the Eastern Conference. But I like the Clippers getting Max Strus. He can help them, a 3-and-D, gritty guy. He's on a favorable contract as well. I think this is an interesting move. All these teams have been talked about for some time, being involved with Peyton Watson and whether or not the Cavaliers would give up Max Strus. They did. We didn't know that it would be rerouted to the Clippers. That's where he'd end up going instead of the Denver Nuggets here.
And let's I know we got still kind of figuring out and waiting on the Kawhi stuff, and if that trade ends up going through, and it just how is a conversation from a Clipper perspective of when the dust settles, does everybody just expect Brandon Ingram is with the Clippers and all those other pieces just fall as originally thought a couple of months ago, or was that a month and a half ago now?
Well, I think so after Monday's report, because it looked like, and look, there's multiple sources on this from ESPN saying that the NBA did not find cap circumvention. They could penalize them for something else. But we're talking Baxter Holmes, Ramona Shelburne, Shams Charania, Bobby Marks. While the NBA came out afterwards and pushed back a little bit and said there were significant inaccuracies in that report, they all stood on it. So the NBA could have said, instead of significant inaccuracies, we're still looking into cap circumvention or something like that. They didn't. So maybe they will ding them for the way Kawhi was introduced to aspiration if they did not follow every protocol to a T, and that's what they're negotiating here, just so it looks like the NBA can save some face. And all the people that are crying, oh, the Clippers got no penalty for this, maybe there's a slap on the wrist that happens. But with the investigation that I've been doing about Pablo's investigation over episodes 13 and 14, I think there's been a lot of inaccuracies going on with how he's presented stuff and has framed things. And we know this entire story through his eyes, through his lens. And so when people are shocked that, oh, wait a second, what's going on? They must be letting off the richest owner in North American sports. Adam Silver just doesn't want to punish them. Or maybe it's because we've only gotten one side of the story so far, and that's from Pablo Torre.
Adam, I say this, no matter what happens, who looks worse in this entire thing? Would you agree that when the dust settles, that the NBA and Adam Silver, there's going to be a perception, and you know what, whether accurate or not, I think there is a perception that this doesn't look clean, and that how can they just walk away, or there is just a slap on the hand or slap on the wrist. Is it fair to say that just the public relations portion of this for the NBA looks awful?
Yeah, I think optics-wise it looks bad. I think some of it's not their fault here. But when you get into an investigation because of a YouTuber that is trying to carve out a new lane of being an investigative journalist, and he's the one that breaks the story, and then the story ends up not being what everybody thought in the end, if that is the case, and it takes almost a year, well, the NBA is going to obviously look bad. But they're also in a tough spot to some degree. I have to give them a little bit of grace, because if it's truly going to be an independent investigation, that means they can't put a timeline on it. Because if they do, then they're meddling with it. If people want it to be an independent investigation, or Wachtell Lipton and the law firm is doing it, well, then it's going to be done when it's done. And even though that looks bad on the NBA's part that it has taken this long, they're waiting themselves. They're not happy about this, but they're also getting all those billable hours. For the people that are saying, well, it's not truly an independent investigation because the NBA hired the law firm, who else is going to do it? What, Capitol Hill? Like, what is your point there with saying that? Like, what is the NBA getting out of this at that point from Wachtell Lipton? They look really bad that it's taken this long. Don't tell me Wachtell Lipton's done the NBA any favors here and it's not an independent investigation. Yes, the NBA is eventually going to take their information they get from them. They are going to make the final ruling on this, and we haven't gotten to that point yet. And I think that's why they were so upset the other day that maybe somebody was jumping the gun with the ESPN report about the Clippers and not being guilty of cap circumvention. But I think they're almost in an impossible position, to be fair. It's going to look bad, yeah, but sometimes when you're on top like this, you're just going to have to take the slings and arrows.
Adam Auslund, Clippers pre and post with us right now. Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. Just around the NBA, I'd love to get your reaction in Los Angeles to what's playing out with the Lakers, the sudden ownership flip, and then the fallout involving the Buss family as well. How is that playing out? What's your reaction to all the news around the Lakers over the last week?
Pablo Torre gets to take his pseudo-journalism from one LA team to another, I guess. He gets to investigate the Lakers now and gets all the run out of that. I think overall it's kind of sad, honestly. I think about Winning Time a lot because I love that show, and it hadn't even, touched it hadn't been peaked. It hadn't hit the prime years of what we would have seen there. And to see a family fall apart like this and there be so much friction and a schism between all of them and the infighting and everything going on, I don't like it. I'm not a Laker fan, but I don't love it. And it obviously looks fishy with Mark Walter and whatever happened there within 9 months. I don't want to hear about how, well, he made $2.5 billion.
I'm with you
What's
on
the
that
issue? That's a great return.
Yeah, I'm with
great
you.
Return. So then he can do what with that money? Buy a team like the Lakers that he just sold? Like, the point of having those billions is so you can have one of the most prestigious companies or sporting teams of all time. That's like their pastime. That's their play toy there. And he had one, and now he got rid of it. He still has the Dodgers, sure, but you're telling me this doesn't smell fishy at all? With after 9 months, the Lakers got flipped like that? I think the average team sale, it's like every 7 years, and we're going 9 months with the Los Angeles Lakers. There's no way. There has to be more to it.
It doesn't smell right. I don't know what's happening with him. We only found out a month ago, so weeks before the sale, that he had been nailed by the feds where they grabbed his laptop and his cell phone coming off an airplane. And that was before he bought the team. So who knows what's been happening behind the scenes, but you can't sell me that for this entire time. Oh, Mark Walter's taken over. Oh, he's injecting the Dodgers philosophies in there. They're redoing the infrastructure with this Lakers team. Oh, it's going to be different. It's going to be state of the art, everything. And then after 9 months, he's like, never mind. Are you kidding me? Something else is going on.
Yeah. But by the way, I couldn't agree more with you. And we'll find out. We'll see the intricacies of this when the dust settles. I think it's interesting what you said about the Buss family. Of it's kind of sad in a way because they are synonymous with the Lakers. They're obviously synonymous with the NBA, and it's been such a successful brand. But I want your thoughts on this, because I do think we're at a point where I think it is time for the Buss family to move on. And I do think that, certain chapters are going to eventually end. And Dr. Jerry Buss was one of the greatest owner in history of sports. And he's got 6 siblings that obviously could not figure this thing out together. And it's more, and by the way, this didn't start yesterday or a week ago. This has been going on since 2013 when he did pass. And I would make the case that I think the cleanest thing for the Lakers at this point is for this chapter to end with the Buss family. Would you agree with that? Or would you like to see them? Would you like to see Jeannie still governor of the Lakers and that legacy continues with their name?
I think that was a nice thought at first with Mark Walter, to still have her in the background as you're going through this transfer of power for 5 years, where she'd still be there. But now I'm with you. You just got to rip the Band-Aid off. Enough is enough, because all that's going to happen now is she's still fighting to stay involved, is you're going to get more and more bad stories about what's going on between the Buss family behind the scenes. I don't think she can be involved anymore, unfortunately. And maybe this is retribution from her brothers who are upset with her from the past, and this is their way to get back at Jeannie. I don't know, but honestly, I'm sympathetic to what's happening with them, because they were royalty in Los Angeles for so long, and one of the premier franchises of all time. To see it fall apart like this, not just fall apart. It's one thing, Mark Walter takes over. That was the time where it all made sense. Lakers get moved in the 21st century. This is perfect. Okay, Jeannie stays in a little bit for a few more years. That sounded nice. But now that that's out too, it's like you're trying to cleanse the palate again. You're trying to wipe the slate clean again. And the only way to fully do it is to just cut ties with the Buss family.
Adam, appreciate the perspective, man, on all things NBA, including the Clippers and the Lakers in LA. But thanks for hopping on here in San Diego.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for having me. I guess I got a podcast to do tonight. Clippers got Max Strus. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
There you go.
Get working on that. All right, Adam Auslund, Clippers pre and post, joining us here on San Diego Sports 760.
Yeah, listen, the timing of that, I had couple, I think maybe around 1 o'clock when I texted him, or maybe it was around noon. I was like, hey, there could be a trade that goes down, including Clippers, around 5.
You said I'm hearing
might
about
go down
Max
at 4:58,
yeah.
4:57.
So join us at 5.
By the way, that is interesting. I don't know. I guess I haven't looked at it from his perspective of like, it's sad to see the way it's ending, this Buss family stuff. I think for me, there's like it's like I'm tired of it. Like it's been happening. It didn't start yesterday. I mean, this was going on with her brother when he was the president of basketball operations back in like 2015, 2016. He was drafting the Lonzo Balls and the Brandon Ingrams. Family stuff's been going on for a while.
By the way, tell us how you really feel about Pablo Torre, Adam Auslund.
Yeah, he feels a certain way.
He feels a certain way. It will be interesting to see what the NBA determines and the impact it does have on Pablo Torre's credibility as an investigative reporter. All right, Kevin Acee at 5:30. If you missed our conversation from earlier, as the Padres dropped 2 of 3, we're looking ahead to this homestand that kicks off Friday night against the Minnesota Twins on the other side. We're here until 6 p.m. We've got tickets to give away today, including a 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance on August 30th at Petco Park. Stay with us on Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.
Big game tonight. SDFC is back on the road when they take on Portland. Our coverage with Adrian and Darren begins at 7 p.m. on your home for SDFC, San Diego Sports 760, 7:30. The match will start.
All right, Kevin Acee at 5:30. If you missed our conversation, Padres fall in New York. They dropped 2 of 3.
Kind of a bad day.
Yeah, today really wasn't good. And I go back, we haven't even touched on this. There was a critical play in this game that might have been the difference between winning and losing.
The air after
Sungwoo
Xander went out,
rushing a throw for whatever reason that should have been a double play ball that he threw away.
And he's good defensively.
He is, but he wasn't there. And then here's where you add the insult to injury, even though there was no injury. Although there actually was, because Bogaerts had left the game.
Not injured. It feels like they're cramps,
day-to-day,
maybe.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But the issue is, so you're down 2-1 in the 8th inning. You allow these 2 unearned runs to score. You then score a run in the 9th inning where if that play never happened, or if you're just clean defensively, which they
tie it up at 2 apiece,
and you never know what happens. So it wasn't clean overall this series. Going back to Friday. No, what's today? When's going back to Monday? I mean, running into outs like that at home 3 different times and losing by 1 run. Very sloppy 3 games. They probably deserve their ultimate fate.
No, I agree with you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's
a good way to put it.
They kind of deserve not winning the series.
Yeah, I don't think we're sitting back and saying, "Oh, they played excellent. They should have won 2 or 3." No, that's not the case.
They didn't.
I mean, they didn't play good enough, and like you said, that how quickly it could change in baseball. Because last night we're saying to ourselves, "All right, they got a chance. Michael King on the mound, your ace, the best pitcher that you have, going up against the Mets. This is a perfect day to walk away taking 2 or 3 from the Mets, going 4-2 on this road trip, and keeping at least a 2-game cushion in the standings. It's kind of the first time you've hit 2 games. I got 2-game cushion on Arizona
since like 1909 or something.
It's the first time, right? Yeah. I got a 2-game cushion on Arizona, and then all within just a handful of hours, Arizona wins. Philly's about to start really separating themselves. They're going to be up now 3 games wins, if you talk about the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
And then St. Louis won as well. So you're now you could technically say, as we kind of get a little bit closer to September 1st, it's starting to look like, I know it's incredibly early, but Philly's got a 2-game lead plus the tiebreaker. At least with Arizona, that's kind of still up in the air. It's going to potentially, it could be a 3-team battle for that final spot. I don't know how confident you are in St. Louis, but
yeah, I mean, we'll see. I will say this. The Padres over their last 25 games have the best record in the sport, even with these 2 losses. They're 18-7.
Even with the 2 losses.
Even with the 2 losses, they're 18-7. I can't really complain about it, and I'm willing.
We complain about one series.
I'm willing to call it an aberration when they'd won the prior 7 series, or won or tied the prior 7 series. Now, if they weren't playing well, I'd be more concerned. Since they are playing well, I think I said it this way earlier, I'll give them the grace of this series. I'm not willing to do that when they come home, though, against Minnesota and Pittsburgh. You can't be just okay this homestand as well. And the schedule will eventually stiffen again. You still do have to play LA. You still could have a really meaningful series against Arizona in the final 3 games of the year as well. So I'll give them this series because they still have the best record in baseball over the last 25 games.
And it's going to happen. It's bound to happen. But I'm with you at the end of the day. Just a bad series. That's all. I mean, and we're not, our job is not to pretend that they had a good series. They didn't. They lost 2 or 3 to the Mets. It was a disappointing series. This morning was disappointing. Monday was very disappointing. And yesterday was the Tatis show.
Yeah. I mean, there is that. And I said yesterday, you can't have a day like that from Tatis and lose. And to their credit, they won the game, but they did lose the series. It was such a moment. The Topps is actually selling what they call a Topps Now card of Tatis's catch over the right field wall, robbing Francisco Lindor of a would-be grand slam. Did we talk about this on
Which one would you want? You want them to have a card with Tatis going over the wall? Yeah. Or you want him to have a card where he's staring.
Oh, the reaction?
Everybody's looking at him. His hat is off. And the ball is in the air as he's showing that I caught the ball. I want that card.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be, and I do want to buy this card, by the way, that they are producing. But then I thought to myself, do I really want a August 18th card? Does that?
You're buying cards
buying
over there
everything. I
like
got
they're
cards
going
over
out
there.
of. Yeah, you're like, I'm getting this. What is it called? What's the term?
Trading card?
No, you're getting it. What you're getting? it graded. Yeah, graded.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah. Oh yeah. I'm all in. Yeah, I
You're
picked
all
up a
in on
Shea
this.
card. I picked up a Wemby
Did
card.
these come in the mail here?
They come in the mail here.
It's because you don't
I
want your
keep it
wife
away
to
from-
know.
Well, no.
Gotcha.
Just don't mention it on air. But here's the thing. I don't buy a lot of Padres cards anymore because I was doing it about a year ago. Every time I'd buy a card, the team would go in the
So
tank.
you paid $6,000 for that card.
Less. It was like $5,000 now.
$5,000.
Way less. But I was buying Toddy cards last year, and then he would go like 0 for 30. And I was buying Manny cards, you go 0 for 50. I'd buy Merrill cards.
Then
Couldn't
just
buy a
buy
hit.
all Phillies cards, Dodger cards, Brewers, and Cups.
Just
buy the whole NL.
It's honestly a really good idea. That's a really good idea. Alan, we have a winner.
All right,
of
very nice.
A 4-pack of tickets to see My Chemical Romance on August 30th at Petco Park. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Can I get a drum roll, Alan? Thank you. That was well done.
This guy in the drum roll.
That was from Brent. The winner of that 4-pack of tickets, Thomas in Santee.
There we go, Thomas.
Congrats, Thomas. Thanks for listening.
Shout out to Santee over there.
We still have tickets to give away to see Muse, and we'll do that coming up between now and 6 p.m. We'll let you know how to win those tickets. Kevin Acee.
Have you done any East County trip yet?
What do
Have
you
you
mean?
done like a Santee, El
Where's East County?
Cajon,
Where's-
any of that stuff?
Where is that?
Go deep, go down into like Alpine area.
I've never been further east than this studio in my life.
All right, we got you.
You
Bro,
gotta
you're-
hook me up.
you
You're
don't-
from El Cajon. I get no invites.
You don't have a choice. Like you're representing San Diego. You're doing San Diego State play by play. You want some San Diegans, go east.
Well, take me.
I got you.
I need you to take me. I don't know if I'm allowed.
I'll take you.
All right, on the other side, Kevin Acee, our Padres insider from New York. We have tickets to see Muse on August 29th. We'll give those away as well. Stay with us, Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760 live on the iHeartRadio app. Something big is coming on September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day arrives with massive deals, exclusive deals, and an all-day celebration built for sports fans. The countdown has begun. All roads lead to game day.
The DraftKings Sports app is now live in all 50 states. That means California, from Texas to Florida, every fan is in on the excitement. One app, every sport, all 50 states. DraftKings Game Day is yours. Remember the date, September 2nd. DraftKings Game Day is the kickoff of a new season, a new era, and the biggest day in sports history. Get ready to celebrate. New DraftKings customers sign up with a code SD760. Spend $5 to get $150 in rewards within 14 days. That's code SD760.
In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Event trading offered by DraftKings Predictions, a CFTC registered introducing broker. Trading involves risk of loss. Market availability varies. Eligibility restrictions apply. $50 every 7 days via click to claim, issued in non-withdrawable predictions dollars that expire in 1 year. Ends August 23rd. Terms dkng.co/predictions promo. Nationwide based on sportsbook predictions and free-to-play sports contest availability. Varies by state.
Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network, presented by Lowe's. The Padres lost their rubber match today to the Mets 4-2 in New York. They got an off day tomorrow, and then they start a weekend series against the Twins at Petco Park. One NFL note, the Texans wideout Jaden Higgins has a torn ACL. He's going to be out for the season. And tonight at 7 o'clock, SDFC goes on the road to take on Portland. Pre-match coverage with Adrian and Darren begins right here on your home for San Diego FC, San Diego Sports 760 at 7 o'clock. Now at Lowe's, faster quotes start at the Lowe's Pro Desk. Got a material list handwritten on a sticky note or saved as a photo? Perfect. Bring it in and get a quote in minutes. Plus, access thousands of products beyond what's in store or on Lowe's.com right from the Lowe's Pro Desk.
All right, San Diego Sports 760. Kevin Acee, if you missed him earlier, a Padres Insider. All right, I was asking Brent off air how this conversation starts. What did you say, Brent? That made no sense to me. You can come over the microphone.
On if we should be worried about this series or it's just baseball.
That makes sense. That's what I thought I asked. So here's Kevin Acee.
Yeah, I do look at it that way, but I also look at it like, okay, well, you played well enough to win. You made mistakes.
Yeah.
You had a coaching blunder. But like you just got 3 quality starts, and not just quality. You got 3 starts with 2 runs or fewer, guys that went at least 6 innings. You had a heroic night for Fernando Tatis Jr. You just let Robert Stock off the hook. So I think you have to be cognizant, right? That like, oh boy, this could have been a lot better. And so, yeah, but look, I think they look at it that way too. It's a different vibe now when they drop a game like they did in Cleveland, drop a game like they did, or a series here. It's a different vibe than it was like back when they were pretty much stressing. I'm going to say a month and a half ago.
Yeah, I think missed opportunity. I think that's the best way to put it. Kevin, you mentioned Tatis here for a quick second, and can I just ask? We're trying to watch this thing on TV, and there's only so much of a vibe that we get through that experience. What was yesterday like being at the stadium and obviously in one of the largest markets, the largest market in the country, and just seeing what Tatis did yesterday, and obviously seeing how everybody's talking about it after the game. Everybody, if you go on social media, everywhere you look, they're showing his highlights. What was that just in person, that Tatis experience?
There's a vibe in New York that is unlike anywhere else, and especially a night game. And the Mets have been playing well. That's first. So then he does that in New York, and then he mugged. Like that was. I'm an old man, and I appreciate that stone cold action after catching that ball. That was amazing. It was almost as amazing as the play itself. And the crowd, like, I swear they cheered. Now, they groaned, but they cheered. Now, he was booed loudly every other time that he came up after that, especially after he hit the second home run. But for him to do that in New York and play it like he did is unlike anywhere else. It was a Tatis moment. I feel like it was, when you combine it with all the other little moments he's had in the last month, like it signaled, okay, all right, this is a guy who can carry them into the playoffs.
Kevin Acee is our Padres Insider. I want to follow up on that. And the guy's been brilliant for a long period of time. But my expectations for him remain so high, as if I want him to be, one of the best players in the sport, one of the, top 2 or 3 players in the sport. Is it fair to say like he's a little bit like perplexing, where he can have 450-foot home runs like nobody else, but he can also have a season in which, he's sitting on 15 home runs, not 55. Like, is it fair to even expect more because of what we've seen previously from how good of a player this can be?
Yeah, this is a guy who should every once in a while rise up and have 9 WAR, right?
Right.
This is a guy who, like last year, we looked at it as disappointing. He was a 6+ WAR guy. Like, this is a guy who has, I think there was before the suspension and injury, he and Juan Soto were tied for 3 seasons or something, or he was right below Juan Soto and, weighted runs created plus. Yeah. Like, this guy, by every metric, is what I'm saying. This is one of the best players in the league. And then he does things that, he has like 4 tools that most players would die to have, like one, right? They would be able to make themselves like a decent career. And so that's how special he can be. So you are spot on, extremely perplexing. It's like this guy's what I would hate. I think we talked about it before, that like maybe last year or something. I would hate that, like, what we end up sort of thinking about when we think about him is that he was so talented that even when he sucked, he had an 820 OPS. Like, because, wait a minute, why not have a 920 OPS, Toddy?
Kevin Acee, our Padres Insider, joining us here on the Schaeffer and Sliwa Show. Kevin, we were talking, obviously a big part of the conversation why the Padres have put themselves in a position to be in this wild card race is because of their offense over this handful of weeks. You call it a little bit over a month here. Last 5 games, just the inconsistency, the one run in the loss against the Guardians, 1 run on Monday against the Mets, and we know the amount of opportunities that they had, and then this afternoon, 2 runs against the Mets. What have you noticed in the games where they are putting up 6-7 runs versus the games that they did struggle like they have in 3 of these last 5 games?
I mean, I really don't know. And it's actually like longer than that. So maybe I, shouldn't know. But I guess it's one of those things where they would say, well, if we knew, we'd fix it. I really can't tell you. I think Robert Stock was a little weird today, like in terms of where he threw from and how he threw. That's not an excuse. I'm just saying, like, it was different and they didn't respond well. A few of those games, I'm pretty sure, were pitchers like him that they hadn't seen before. Again, not making an excuse. I'm trying to, because I have been thinking about this, and it's actually been, it might be a dozen games or more where almost everyone is like that, where 5+ runs, 1-2 runs, 5+ runs, 2-3 runs, something like that, every other game. And I don't know. I really don't. But it's, again, we should be real bullish on this team at this point. But we have to have in the back of our mind, like, these types of things.
That's a good point. What comes next? You've done some reporting here on Joe Musgrove. What comes next for Musgrove?
It's a minor league start. I'm not sure where. I was told it could even be more than one, but probably not. That was probably just someone saying, like, we don't know yet. We haven't made up our mind and all that. They want him to be able to, they want him to do what he did last time, whatever it was, 80 pitches, up 5 innings, and throwing really well, and then recover and do it again and recover. And then they're going to be like, okay, now we're ready, because we're in a pennant race here is what they're saying. And they got those 2 starters. Look at what's happened here with these guys last, I'd say 8 of their last 11, 6 innings. 4 in a row for the first time since early 2025, 4 quality starts in a row. Like, the urgency to get Joe Musgrove back is not as great. And so, okay, let's, they got a day off. How do they get through Friday? And then it's back to the 4 starters who have been doing really well. So they can make it through like another time. They think that will be best for Joe and best for them.
Kevin, just to play off of that, let's say perfect scenario, things are going well for Joe Musgrove. He's ready to come back up with the Padres, and whatever that looks like. Is there a world where that 5th spot in the rotation, Musgrove kind of works his way into? I know there isn't that much time left in the schedule, but is that kind of the idea and the concept there?
Oh, yeah, he's the 5th guy. Someone's going. Someone's leaving. Not one of the starters. But someone's going, and then someone's moving to the bullpen. It's pretty. I think it's fairly. No one has told me this. They've tried to tell me, maybe Canning, maybe Hart. Yeah, right. Okay, Canning's gone. Vasquez to the bullpen. Mm-hmm. Like, it's pretty straightforward, right? You're at a point in the season you don't need a mop-up guy, and your mop-up guy can be Kyle Hart if you've got to do that, or Randy Vasquez if you got to do that. And then in September, you're going to get an extra guy. So, but yeah, Joe's coming back, and that's why it's a thing. They want him back to be able to go 80 pitches plus. And, look, they understand he's going to need to use a little bit of the regular season to get to where like he can be to be Joe, right? But they don't want it to be that he's working back. I don't know if you recall it. I know we were in Cincinnati and Joe came back after in one of those fits and starts in 2024. And he came back and he was really good for a couple innings and then petered out. And that's a typical thing when a guy's been off for a while and they don't want that to happen.
Last one for me, Kevin. We asked you this recently, but is it now more likely than not that Ethan Salas gets a call up along the way between now and the end of the regular season? Would you say that's more likely than not or not?
I really don't know. The more I talk to people, the more I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid to say anything. I still think he's coming up because why not? Because there's a lot that goes into it. But in short, the clock starts. Don't think that's an issue. But the fact is, if he's on the 40-man roster, they can't talk to him during the lockout, right? And, all baseball people's position until December 1st will be, well, if there's a lockout. Everybody knows there's a lockout, right? So their decision will come down to, is it better for him to come up and then not be available to, if the season starts a month late, 2 months late, to be getting at bats in AAA. That's basically what the decision will come down to. Now, I think Ethan Salas' background. His dad is basically his coach. The guy works his butt off. It's not like they're probably worried about a few guys, major leaguers in the during the lockout more than they are Ethan Salas. But those major leaguers have been major leaguers. They want Ethan Salas to have experience. So I think that's what it's going to come down to, is which do they think is more valuable? Because the fact is, might he get, they clinch? Oh, great time to get Ethan Salas in. Might he come in and catch some innings in a game? Sure. But they're in a pennant race, right? So or a playoff race. That's an old term. Back when the only people that made the playoffs won the pennant, right? They're in a playoff race here, and so it's not like Ethan Salas is going to be coming up and starting unless someone gets hurt.
Kevin, I'm going to squeeze one more quick one in here as well. Robbie Ray yesterday. What did you make of his start, and how much of it was? How much of his line is because of what Tatis did, and how much would you say no? He also pitched pretty well. Where would you put it?
Both. Great point, because the line ain't what it is if Tatis doesn't do what he does.
Yep.
But that was Robbie Ray. That was Robbie Ray that you saw those starts. Those 8 starts before he came to the Padres at a 109 ERA, tied for the lowest in the major leagues in that span. Lots of walks, homer here and there, some hits, guys get on base, locked down. And it wasn't that way as much the first couple starts, especially the first one. And then we sort of showed it by getting out of the 4th inning against Milwaukee. And then yesterday, that's what they got Robbie Ray for. Yep, walks, little bit, little cease-ish, little Snellish. Doesn't have quite their stuff anymore, but gets out of it. That was Robbie Ray.
Kevin, appreciate you doing it. Enjoy what they call a day off. I don't know if it's a day off for you. You're traveling actually tomorrow, but enjoy tomorrow, and we'll catch up with you again on Friday.
All right, take care.
Kevin Acee, our Padres insider. We have tickets to give away, Alan, on the other side. We'll do that to see Muse, August 29th, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. We have a 4-pack of tickets. We'll give those away coming up next here on Schaeffer and Sliwa. Where does the time go, Alan? Nearly 6 p.m.
Well, it's been 2 hours and 48 minutes, so it really hasn't gone anywhere.
Right.
We hit a solid 2:48.
We have.
Yes.
How about this? Who wants to go see Muse August 29th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater? We have a free 4-pack of tickets to see Muse August 29th coming up. If you want those tickets, just call right now. You get them for free. Caller 4.
There you go.
877-767-4760. Call right now. Caller 4. You have an absolutely free 4-pack of tickets to see Muse August 29th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Again, the number to call and do it right now is 877-767-4760. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com. All right, so Padres off tomorrow, back home Friday, wild card race, Titans.
I think Philly finished their.
Philly won, right?
Yeah, Philly won.
Arizona won. What did St. Louis do? Did they win?
St. Louis down 3-2, top 7. Our Reds came back.
Okay, that's good. That's all.
Cardinals got guys at the corners with 2 outs.
But that's important because the St. Louis win, they'd be within 2 games of San Diego. A loss, they'd stay 3 games back.
And then Philly did win. So Philly ended up winning 4-1 against Miami. So listen, we had this conversation a number of different times. I think it's going to be the same theme. Just take care of yourself. All the Padres got to worry about is themselves. They don't got to worry about anybody else.
Yeah.
I know easier said than done. I'm not telling you that it's a guarantee, it's a lock, but there is a little bit of this. It's like if the Padres handle their own business, we don't have to scoreboard watch the St. Louis Cardinals and the Cincinnati Reds. Arizona, I think, is a little bit different because I do feel like they're probably going to be in the mix. It's just a lot tougher when you lose a 3-game set. You lose against the team that you feel like, yeah, I should be handling this. I don't really care if the Mets are playing well because the Padres were playing well as good as baseball as anybody.
Here's the thing, though, and I said this as the second half started, and I said it after the deadline. They're going to lose a series. It was inevitable. They weren't going to the playoffs winning 16 consecutive series. That was not going to happen. I said they're going to lose back-to-back games. I don't think they have, actually, over the last 25. I could be wrong in there. But like these things happen. There's adversity in baseball. So losing 2 out of 3 of the Mets in the grand scheme can be overcome. They can overcome even a 2-game losing streak. I mean, if they could somehow get to the postseason, Alan, without back-to-back losses from here until the end of the regular season, that would be incredible. So I'm assuming there's going to be a stretch where they lose 2 straight games or lose another series. Despite that, they got to overcome it, and I think they can because of how they've played. So you lose a series, you bounce back, hopefully you win a series against Minnesota.
When we texted each other about the color of our shirts today, what did you tell me initially when you're like, we gotta go cream?
You're gonna find this fascinating.
Okay.
I go to San Diego State today. I watch practice.
Okay.
You're gonna find this. That's fascinating, right? That I was at San Diego State. Where have you been? You need to get over there. Little too much Dog Beach, a little more San Diego State football.
Do me a favor. Send me the details.
Email? I did. I sent you the Jamie stuff, right?
You sent me the Jamie stuff for something that was like
2 weeks
Saturday.
Ago? Good point. Anyway, so I'm over there.
Can you send that to me? I'd like to go.
They're practicing again tomorrow. It's a football team. They practice all the time.
I understand that, but I can't just walk into a football practice and say, Sean,
Allen,
I'm running a route.
Yes, run right onto the field. That'd be amazing. Anyway, here's what you're going to find interesting.
Okay.
I go to San Diego State. I listen to some receivers talk to the media afterwards. Then I go to get an acai bowl across the street. Forget the name of the place, but I go there like every day. I'm at San Diego State, across from Fowler, right by Viejas. Get an acai bowl in my work clothes. I get acai on my shirt.
That's great. That's awesome.
Here's what I do.
Was it too melted? Melted? But that's when it's at its best. It was my bad.
I made a mistake.
But that's when it's at its best.
It was very good.
What was the mistake? Was it
2 things. After this, I'm like, I'm going home because I still had like an hour.
Fix your neck.
Oh, my bad. I'm like, I'm going home.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I hope I see no one I know between here and the parking lot. And then I see someone that works in academics and in sports with 6 people. So I have acai all over a collared shirt. And I'm like covering up like, I spill acai on my shirt. This happened. And I drive
You didn't do like the cross.
I did, but I couldn't cover it, dude. It looked like I had been
You're
stabbed.
just talking to them with both of your arms.
And my pinched nerve is hurting me. And it looked like I had been stabbed. It's just like red on my shirts. It was very awkward. Isn't that insane? So that's why I'm wearing a t-shirt. I was wearing a collared shirt.
How did we go 253 without you
sharing
telling
that?
me
Is that
man?
not embarrassing?
That's excellent.
It's so embarrassing. And my wife goes, I go to home and she's like, I thought I heard someone downstairs. I'm like, it was me for the last 20 minutes. And she's like, you drove home because you got acai? And you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Just have this huge stain?
No, you can't.
It's red.
You have to go home.
It's red, dude.
Should have just went to the
dry cleaning.
No, should have went to SDSU, asked for
polo.
No, go to one of the Aztec shop or something like that and just go get something.
I honestly could. No, but then I would have to walk the entire campus with this
That's so
blood
funny,
stain on me.
That's so funny.
It was
hey,
so
John, love the broadcast.
So it goes, as the voice of the Aztecs. He was just shot, apparently. It was like blood dripping down his shirt.
That's really funny, bro.
That's really, really
good.
That's why I'm wearing this t-shirt.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah. Bro, back in the day, in sales and you got your nice
Dressed
shirt on or
up,
something like that, and just drinking coffee. Trying to go coffee from the car ride to work.
Yeah.
It was like a 38% chance coffee was getting on the shirt.
I know. It's true.
Oh man, dude. That's really good.
And you know me, I typically wear a collared shirt, although here not always. But at San Diego State, I don't wear a t-shirt to go to like practice. I mean, you can.
You wear tank tops.
I wear tank tops.
You wear tank tops.
Yeah, board shorts.
Yep.
I'll put.
And you bring a ball. You're just dribbling a basketball
even
the entire
football
time.
practice. Just dribbling between my legs.
That's really good.
So that was my day. But if you want to get to practice tomorrow,
that by far was one of my favorite stories. Send me the details.
Who's talking tomorrow? Someone's talking tomorrow.
Tomorrow or Friday, one of the 2 days.
They're not practicing Friday.
Season ends tomorrow. This is it.
If you want to talk to the kickers or the punters tomorrow, they're going to speak with the punters and the special teams coach.
Well, when they allow you to go to practice, how much of practice are you getting to watch before media session, or is it just kind of?
I kind of walk in, but you can just wait on the side. No, you can walk in. You can walk.
I like that confidence there.
Well, it's like I'm not giving away I don't even know what's happening. They're playing football.
Well, I'm not going to interview anybody. I just want to watch practice.
We're back tomorrow at 3 p.m.
See you tomorrow.
For Brent and Alan, I'm John. SDFC coming up at 7 p.m. tonight. Stay with us. Schaeffer and Sliwa, San Diego Sports 760. We're live on the iHeartRadio app.